Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stan Comer with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Monrovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, crunchy like my brother, to spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What you want? This one you got today.
Spoon TV. Spoon.
This one you got today.
Spoon. Spoon TV. Spoon.
Skiddy dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment.
Go on.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stan Comer with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Monrovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, crunchy like my brother, to spoon. You got got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, Tuto Spoon. Yeah, Tuto Spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, I do, Batileo.
Spoon TV. Spoon
Yes, I do, Batileo.
Spoon Spoon TV. Spoon
Balabadibadiba. Skibidi-bidi-dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment.
Kua. Bese kua, go to there.
Of course, today is the 5th day of February 2024. It was a beautiful Monday. It is a pleasant night tonight as well. Talking about the day was beautiful, though it was hot. Dwalu had complaints again. Now the sun hot and making the Lola burn person and all that kind of stuff. But Dwalu is on the show. He's right here, so don't make it look like I'm gossiping or anything like that. So Dwalu is right here. I'd love to welcome you to another edition of Liberia's biggest talk show. This is the Spoon Talk. Of course, we here again. We have some committed, not even some, we have many committed, followers of Spoon. And someone created the word Spoonians also, or Spoonicians, or what?
Spoon nights.
Spoon
Spoon nights.
Let me see. Let me bring Balu.
Don't know people.
Yeah, you say how they call the people again for Spoon?
They call it spoon nights.
Spoon nights.
Yeah. I think I like that better. Spoonicians. We don't want to get anywhere near any kind of sedition talk. At the end of the day, man, you're welcome. Plenty of my people. How you doing?
So between Spoon nights, Spooners, Spoonicians.
Spooners, you sound too vulgar.
It's not vulgar. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, we need something, more civilized.
So Spoon nights.
I think Spoon nights carries today. Yeah, it is much more.
So if you were to print a T-shirt, what would be the caption on a T-shirt?
We are the Spoon Nighters. I don't know. I got to think about it though.
Okay, so someone Alpha says I'm a Spoon night.
Yeah, there you go.
So comment if you're a regular follower, you're a regular viewer, and all of that. Just comment if you're proud of being, associated with this network. Just kindly comment. I'm a Spoon night. Dalu will spell your own Spoon night.
Yeah, but maybe spelling it already there. NRTE,
NRTE, like.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how many persons are proud, of the fact that the Spoon nights.
Beto Comey says spoon fee.
So Alfred, so this thing has become a debate.
Yeah.
So Alfred is saying we should be called the Spooners.
The Spooners. I don't know, man. It just it bordering too much on a spoonist. Yeah, I spooner prefer spooner. But y'all got to eat it now. Call it go spoon.
So Chris Kejo says he's very proud. Spoonicians in all.
The spooner.
Spooner. So
yeah.
Which either way, either or. Yeah. Somebody says the name is
Spoonatilla.
Spoonatilla.
Oh God.
Italian.
No, yeah, that's what I
Spoonies.
Spoonies. I'm a proud spoon night. You see, spoon night sounds more appropriate. You ask me. Spoon talk is okay. That's coming from Don and Soiree. Yeah, spoon guy. Spoon shin. Spooners. Spoonies.
Spoonist.
Spoonist.
Spoonerism.
Oh God, spoonerism. Now, I think you're going to an adjective or adverb in this case. I don't know way. Spoon night. Spooky.
Somebody says spooky.
Spooky.
Spoonato.
Spoontasha. Okay, whatever way you want to go, man. You're welcome to the show. Let's share the show. Let's come and talk about Liberia today. Plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
But while you spoon nights are coming on, let me recognize my girl Stacy Scott. Hey Stacy, how you doing? Valley, Talawale, how you doing? Blessing Don, Peter Tukba, Mr. Tukba, welcome to the show. Sam O. Dobson, Wilfred Double, We got Puchu Ta. How are you doing? Welcome to the show. Lee G. Morris, Joseph Kabe, I'm sorry. Ishaka Sharif, Charles, Ruby Thomas added. We got Boykai Dukle. We got Thomas Cochi. We got Sam Zoll, my brother Alakak City. How are you doing? Joseph Yala Jr., Samuel A. Johnson. We got Esther Wobe. We got Abel Momo. We got Ikwe Supu Woti. How you doing? We got Liberia Mary J. Rufus Jackson Lowe. We got Rufus G. Sam Davis. That Olivia Sata Mia Matilda Soe. Lucilia Swige. We got Levi Gay Baker Renzi. We got Sonabu Conan. Welcome to the show. We got Faye Bakai. How are you doing? We got Wendell, I believe that's Powell, Omaru, Mercy Hill, everybody, man. Joanne, welcome to the show. Titus Pazin, Amelia G. Toflo Gay, Aaron Butler, Mr. Butler, how are you doing? It's been a minute there. I got James Scott, welcome to the show. Jeremiah Kangba, Serena Kopa Bowen, Precious Wowe, welcome to the show. I see Semanti Chiet, Samuel Anno. Welcome, Thomas Maliki. Everybody, man, welcome to the show. But Dama, before you come into the show today, I want to talk about something very briefly concerning my brother Martin Cully. And there is this whole hoopla, this brouhaha on Facebook, people talking about Martin Cully has done this, Martin Cully has done that. I want to be very measured in what I'm about to say. Martin Cully's call is very noble. There are times people may disagree with the way he presents his case, but the cause that he's undertaking is actually something that's going to elevate this country. It's actually elevating this country. Martin Cully's intentions are actually great for our republic. There is nothing that Martin Cully is doing that we should all now applaud. Martin Cully is one of Liberia's best and brightest minds. His intentions are good for this country. I believe every single one of us who embrace his intention. Remember now, this young man is trying to build an institution. The only way we can grow as a society is if we build institutions about the things we want in the society, the governance system that we want in the system in this country. We have to build institutions. That's exactly what Martin Cully is trying to do. Now, I do understand some people will say his presentation is off, the way his messages are presented, it is up in your face. It hurts people it rubs people the wrong way. Martin Cully, he's the kind of person just talking to people. He's disrespectful. You can come up with all the claims against Mr. Cully. But Mr. Cully's intention is to elevate this country. He's not trying to demean or trying to make anybody look small. He's just trying to make sure the very people that are going to be making decisions for this country, they have the proper pedigree. They have the foundation and preparedness to govern the society and produce to the people. That's all this young man is trying to do. Some of you do not see this. You want to crucify this man because he's spoken about somebody that you love or that you care about, that is your loved one. Martin Cully's intentions are not malicious. They are not trying to make anybody look ugly. They're just simply saying, listen, this is what you've presented. We verify what you've presented, and this does not align with what you're claiming. Please come and explain. That's all he's doing. Now, you may disagree with his presentation. That's okay. Say, do it differently. You can make that suggestion, but I can tell you something. If you're building an institution, you're going to make some mistakes. I'm not saying Martin Cully is infallible. This is not my suggestion. I do understand he will make some mistakes. But let's embrace this young man and this noble call, this noble duty that he's undertaking by himself, this great initiative from the brother Martin Cully. Nothing he has done wrong. You may disagree with his presentation, but his cause is just. It is great for our republic. If we are going to grow as a society, we want the likes of Martin Cully being one of the spearhead or what direction this country takes. Mr. Cully, understand that we salute you, we celebrate you, we embrace you. Please do not stop, because this society that we want, we have to find our best and brightest to govern. And if you're claiming something, you should be able to substantiate that. That's all this young man is saying. Bravo to you, brother. Do not give up. We embrace you. Taman.
Yeah, thank you, Dwalu. So we have an excerpt from the confirmation hearing.
Yeah.
Our reporter has told us that the Senate's chair on foreign affairs, Monserrado County Senator Ibrahim Darius Dillon, has said, due to the fact that many senators are interested, this is the confirmation hearing of the century.
Okay.
In Liberia, we had the Wambu DK saga, we had the Darlington Conley saga, and now we have the Sarah Beslo Yanti confirmation hearing. Looking at the number of viewers we had today when that confirmation was ongoing, we had 5,000 plus.
Imagine.
That piqued the interest. Now, for me, I personally feel like we shouldn't cause disparity in how we hold people accountable. What was good for CDC officials back then when they were appointed by the president and they were scrutinized, by no way those from the UP are above that measure. You know, if Marty raised a point, and I listened to Madam Sarah Beslo Yanti today, she said, oh yeah, I got my master's while I was working in the UN system, but she didn't say anything about the undergrad. You know, whether that was cleverly done to not raise up questions concerning that. The issue is, if we want people to have respect for getting credentials, we shouldn't make it look like at one point in time credentials is important. If you want to ride on the wind of experience, ride on the wind of experience. But if you want to bring to both credentials plus experience, then you should be able to prove both. And for me, I'm for the fact that we should know the truth. Where is it coming from? Who's right? Who's wrong? You know, let's get these things settled out so that it can serve as a caveat for others as well.
Absolutely.
We're setting benchmarks.
Yes.
Why do we want to set a benchmark higher for one group, you know, and then, you know, lower the benchmark, you know, for another group? So it should be fair on everybody's part. We all should know that when people go in for confirmation hearings, they should come with their requisite documents and let this be, you know,
normalized.
A normalized thing. We can say one system in the country, then 1 minute the system should work when the system is not working. Look, the thing is so funny that people who were hailing Mountain a few months back, when he alarmed on the Darlington Carlin issue, you know, when he alarmed on the guy from LBDI, you know, the same people that were hailing Mountain are the ones vilifying him today. It just shows how sometimes we all want to protect our own at the expense of country. So it's no crime in Madam Beslo Yanti coming up to defend her credentials. After all, if they are right and fair, it shows that scrutiny is working and we can present good documents, authentic documents. We don't want people slipping through the cracks because, you know, we need to let them know that this is something that we all have to go through. Tomorrow might be another person.
Okay.
But today something historic happened.
Yeah.
The president, Joseph Yoman Boyka Sr., His Excellency, began working from the executive mansion today. You know, 3 weeks or so since he was inaugurated.
Yeah.
The president, you know, today officially entered the executive mansion and started working from there. He had meetings, courtesy calls, and all of that. It was good to have formed part of that, you know, historic event on today. And the place was busy. The place was busy, and people were going about their duties. That was something good to report on today. And the CDC has said it's time to what? Fall back, recalibrate, and come back 2029. So in that vein, the party has announced a retreat under the theme setback. Oh, Dolly, why are you laughing? Wait, let me get the
Why are you looking for that, my man?
No, I'm looking for the actual theme of the retreat.
Okay, be looking for it, but I'm going to say this, though, guys. The whatever I explain here, personally, I believe Damon shares the same sentiment. It's not a job against anybody or against Amada Yanti, Sarah Yanti. We are just saying there must be consistency in our scrutiny. If we say something, somebody said to me, "Oh, Dwalu, you're supporting Martin Cully. The day you get appointed, Martin will go after you too." My resume is on LinkedIn. Anybody can look it up. I believe anybody who's vying for public service should have their resume published. It just be out there. It's on LinkedIn. You can look up my name right now. It's on LinkedIn. I got nothing to hide. This is not something. It's about hiding or doing this. So let me tell you something. The issue I always tell you guys, I'm a high school graduate. I say this, it's just for you to understand one thing. Look, experience carries a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
In the studio when we're speaking, they shut it down. Listen, experience alone can stand for itself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're claiming something, And that's something cannot be substantiated. That's an issue there. The issue is not whether you can do the job. It speaks to your credibility. Look, we cannot be wanting to formulate a Liberia, to define a new direction for this country. And when it comes down to define that direction, and because that direction does not favor you the way you like it to, you want to change course or you want to change the rules in the middle of the direction definition. It does not work that way. I see a bunch of, a lot of young women, a lot of older women, a lot of middle-aged women, a lot of young leader women, had a woman time to shine. I got no qualms about that. I don't know the woman. I've not spoken to the woman, nor do I really care about whether she gets confirmed or not. But what I do care about is this: the consistency in this scrutiny that must be brought on by our government officials, because I want our brightest minds to go to government so they can provide the direction for this
I
country.
was muffled.
I'm muffled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because close to the mic.
Maybe I'm too close to the mic. How's that sound right now? Is it much
Better. Better.
So I won't go too close to the mic.
No good.
Okay.
But I would say this. Madam Yantin, we wish her well. There is no argument she can do this job, but you cannot argue against what Martin Cuddy is doing. Whether or not this is good for the country, there is absolutely no doubt that this is great for our country. This is great for our society. We should encourage this. We should want this. Most of all, we should embrace this and demand public scrutiny for government officials that come to the public space and they want to serve this country. Dr. Francine, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dwalu. How are you doing?
How you doing, Mama?
Good. Damo, how you?
Super.
Oh, that's
Urgent
good.
5 hour. You okay?
Yeah, everything all right. Just busy
Yeah.
today, but okay. Yeah. So
That's
I,
good.
I met you guys in the conversation. I was watching in and out a little bit about. Actually, I was happy that the president returned to the executive mansion. They spent a lot of money on that mansion, so somebody got to use it. Do you know, Diamond, if the residential area, if it's all fixed not yet, or just the office area?
I only speak to what I have seen.
Okay.
Yes, we stopped on the office floor,
Mm-hmm.
and I've now been privileged to visit the residential quarters,
Okay.
but the office floor, is okay. The fact
Okay.
that the president has decided to work from there, we
Mhm.
took a guided tour with the president. He was
Mhm.
shown his office,
Okay.
his office staff, his dining quarters, as well as
Okay.
his relaxation area and everything. So
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
That's good. That's progress. Because I actually, we visited Spoon TV, visited the mansion when we were in Liberia. We only went to the office floor, but we only saw the sitting
The fourth
area.
floor. Mhm.
Not we didn't go into his office because I don't think it was done that day either. I'm not sure why. I can't remember why, but it wasn't ready. So we didn't go to the residential area, or we didn't go, to the dining area. So that it sounds like it's almost done.
Well, I
Okay.
don't. If you use the word almost, you're talking about a building with, if I'm not wrong, eight floors or so, and there are other parts that still, according to the presidential press secretary, that still needs, renovation and all of that.
Okay.
But for the office quarters, yeah,
Mm.
that's what I said. I only speak to what I saw.
Yeah.
But I was just about making my announcement, and Dwadu, resurfaced on the whole confirmation rigmarole involving
Okay.
Madam Sarah Beslow Yanti.
Okay. I'm
But
sorry.
the CDC has decided to recollaborate, to relaunch. So the retreat, they have announced a retreat, and this retreat is under the theme turning setbacks to come back. So, Dr. Francis, why you laughing now?
No, I just laugh. I see it. Not easy. It's a turning setback to come back.
Setbacks
Yeah.
to come back. So the CDC has accepted that,
They're
all-
magicians.
yeah, so they are going to put their house in order and come back. Didn't the UP Bazola Baga turn setback into come back from 2017 to 2023?
Comparing apples
Ah,
to
so it can be done. I
But-
was trying to say.
It's the same. I'm just saying it can be done.
yeah, impossible,
Yeah, it can be done now.
but not likely. But go ahead.
Yeah, so the retreat is going to happened beginning the 24th of April to the 29th of April, and it will be in Bezon. Yeah,
It'll be where?
Bezon,
Oh, okay.
Buchanan, in Grand Basso.
When is it again? When is it?
I know you want to attend.
Yeah, I won't go.
It's the 24th of April to the 29th of April. 5 days of intense retreating to go and hammer and fix everything and to transform the setbacks. Not setback was setbacks. Series of setbacks into one massive comeback. Yeah. So
Dr. Francine, anybody can have a daydream. Anybody can have a desire to fly. Even pigs have desires to fly.
No, I was trying to say as well.
CDC can have call it a dream, call it an infatuation with lunacy, but it's okay. They can go ahead. So, Dama, let's get to the show. Let's start talking like
so why
this.
are you dismissing the
Because,
fact
man,
that
the
a
structure
major
is not
political
there.
party in the
Major
country?
will
The CDC is a major political party.
Wow,
Don't
I hate
downplay the
you, man.
CDC as being a major. They were just the ruling party few days ago.
CDC was this blink on our history that we will forever we want to erase. This should not have happened, but for the situation of the gullibility of the society, CDC play on that. You pay CDC in fact, it's what I want to say. Let me just leave it.
So you trying to say they reach you now?
They reach you hold the a small minor package that way. They get that in 6 months.
So,
They give it
so do you think the former president will be at the retreat?
for thing. They make a GPJ in Italy.
I mean, he said the former president, and at least.
I'm sorry. You're sorry. You see that, man? That boy is the happiest man alive.
That is why when
He's
I
so
watched that
relieved.
video, it looked like somebody who's happy that the burden has been taken off their shoulders.
Heavy burden.
Like, I'm free. Like, I really wanted to get myself out of this thing. And why is president? We are still trying to prove a point. That's what I don't really understand. Like, okay, I left your country now.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah.
I hear pigeon coming in my hand.
Yeah,
Pigeon coming to
take the
me.
picture.
Yeah, sometimes we intend on doing PRs, and the PRs can be interpreted in a way that it looked like somebody who said, that thing was heavy for me.
It's an entire country.
I'm free at last.
It's something, Diamond. So let's look at the analogy of where he is. Think about a bird. The freedom that they have to fly and just enjoy the breeze, and they can go wherever they want to go if they really try hard. Not even harder than us human. So that's kind of like I was thinking about the analogy of being among the pigeons. He actually had his hands stretched like a pigeon. He actually kind of, if he could flop and go anywhere, he probably can. Now that y'all Liberian people, y'all trouble for his head.
Yeah, now he can travel for 50-something days without anybody complaining that the president left the country unattended to.
There we
Another
go.
crazy.
Yeah.
There's a saying here in Liberia: when you were grown man and you play, the translate a little time you were small, you play. But we are not playing when you're small. We take an entire country with 5 million people, their hopes and dreams and aspiration for their children, and we place it in the hands of a man-child, and we expect a production. That Kenya president, we are waiting to Kenya dying too happy. You're too happy.
I know.
You don't want nothing. That was CDC come back to set back to go back to
No, turning setbacks into comeback. I'll always remind you of the team. I'll always remind you of the team.
Who calling this meeting? What are the names of the people on the meeting?
It's the party hierarchy and the structure now.
Setting Moranga tea into Weebacks, into drug test, into Chroma. Look, at the end of the day, Liberia is better for it. President Weah was a total mess for this country. I said that a million times. This man had no business near the presidency. We shouldn't be dwelling. They ain't go catch a PJ. They put in France or Italy. They don't care what I mean. We'll roast that PJ and walk it. Yeah, with me.
You pay attention. You pay attention. Tama, I sent you an article about the executive mansion, and I think in there what struck me was a picture of what it looked like, the bare structure, and when the fire first took place, I think. So I thought that was interesting just to have some historical analysis of what it looked like before they fixed it. Actually, when I saw the picture today, Dwala, I don't know about you, it's a beautiful, beautiful, building. And even the location of where it is, I think from however down they had a camera, you could actually see the Capitol building right across the street from it. And it almost reminds me of, the United States a little bit, how they have their White House station. But it was nice. It was really good to see that it's been productive. That there's a place where when I was a kid, they used to have a water fountain, a pool. It's all dried up now. I didn't see any water there. And what also surprised me too, the grass used to be kind of much greener. So I don't know if they need like a landscaping, water pump system. But the grass would look like a little bit like it needed work.
Dr. Francine, you see, when people open the book, you're too euphemistic. Let me be real.
You said she's too euphemistic. She's using the best words to describe this thing.
Look, we try to copy something that we cannot fully imitate. They can't be dirty. They can't be dirty. They say they don't. When you go to LU, they call it the macrocosm of education. But we are putting out third-rate graduates. Look, the thing is, we don't want to say what is the truth. The so-called Ministry of Justice, the Supreme Court sitting across the street, they are administering their additional injustices across the country. We are nothing but a shameless country that tries to replicate something that we cannot do properly.
Yes.
Yes. I mentioned more growing all around. They play dirty yesterday. We never called grab before. They talking about the ambience, they grab to green. They grab.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful place. It's
supposed to be.
Yeah, if they took care of it, it would just.
Then when you talk, they say, "Oh, Opa, don't talk." I'll tell my own. You'll tell your own.
You know what? What?
Opa.
Opa.
Like Raymond, Winnie, I'm focusing on President Boga. After we are focusing on. Get the men set up by at least.
I think you are wrong. I think you are wrong, Dwalo.
I only have been there.
Dwalo, I think you are wrong. Can you show the pigeon? You guys have seen the. I heard you guys talking about the pigeon picture. Dwalo, what more you want from George Weah? What more you want him to do?
They may bring all money.
You asked him to leave. He left. You asked him to
concede.
No, Dwalo, you have your 1 hour to talk. Let me ask you a couple of questions. You asked him to concede. You asked him to concede. He conceded early. Unlike any other president in the history of Africa. He conceded early. He conceded even before the final result was read by National Election Commission. No, but why you guys have the habit of interrupting me? Because you guys win this thing, I would not stay on the show tonight. I will leave. I will leave in the next 30 minutes because of what you guys love to do to me. I'm serious. As a matter of fact, if you just force it now, I'm going to leave right now. Because you got to give me a chance to talk. Let me welcome my folks from North Dakota. Welcome them from Jade, Sonin Wen, Noan Panton. Let me welcome them from West Point, Gibraltar. You come on the show every day, Dwalo. We are not talking about you. That you are so fortunate to be in Liberia. You ask your wife to leave, and you're there alone. We can question that. We should question it. I mean, you cannot tell us, same person, we are having his best time of his life. Even the pigeon acknowledging person we are. You saw the pigeon? Getting on his, they just set it in his palm. The man control pigeons. The pigeons listen to the person we are. The man saying, cry, and they cry, and they cry. You see the pigeon echo. Give it to him. Even pigeons hear his voice, and they listen. He called them, they come. He tell them to fly in cycle, the flew in cycle. Dwalo, why would you do that, Dwalo? The man is realized. Like I heard Dama saying, nobody will hold you responsible for staying out of the country 58 days. I agree. Don't even come back. If it's up to me, personal way, you won't come back, don't come back.
Because we are coming for the conference, the setbacks.
They retreat.
We retreat.
Retreat or don't retreat or don't even come back. Enjoy yourself. Because that's all set up. This man has 6 years of trouble. He has 6 years.
You calling our country trouble?
Of frustration from Dwalu, from Dr. Richardson, with the exception of me. I'm the only person that did nothing to President Weah. With the exception of me, that I appreciated the fact that he served as president.
Really?
I can say it on the show openly. Ask all of our followers, open the line right now. Let us 5 people from Liberia who was most vocal in discussing President Weah missteps. None of them will call my name.
You.
None of them will call my name. As much as you want them to call my name, they will not call my name.
I got one question. Only one question.
Yeah, ask me one question, then we'll go to the floor. I want to ask one of 5 callers.
One question.
Not from America. Nobody will call me. You stop calling me. 5 callers from Liberia. Who was the most vocal individual that asked President Weah to leave? That's not me.
Only one question.
I'm not on record for that.
One question.
Go ahead.
What you you were scared to come to Liberia on President Weah? What you scared to come here for?
I was scared. I sat with the president.
No,
I ate with the president.
Let me finish the question. After you did that, when you came, 2023, could you have come to Liberia?
Yes. Yes.
Look at.
What do you mean could you have? When I'm on picture eating with president, we sharing the same bowl, we eating salad, we eating fish, we eating roasted meat, shrimp. Brother, let me tell you something. I'm on record. And I would be a different individual today. Nobody would say Stanton Witherspoon spoke evil against President Weah. Nobody. Nobody would say Stanton Witherspoon wished President Weah to get out of power. Nobody would say so. I'm on record.
You laughing?
I want you laugh.
Yeah.
No. Because Dwalo making me laugh. Can you open the phone line and take one of 5 calls? No. Open the phone line, take one of 5 calls. Let's see if anybody will disagree with me. That one, please, open the line. I'm on record. There's a precedent in the history of Africa. Even before the final result was announced, the man said, I'm out. Then Dwado, every day you come here to beat him, I'm ashamed of you, Dwado.
You. Don't put it on.
I'm not saying Liberia call me. Hello? Hello? I'm gonna take the call. People calling me. I want Liberians in Liberia to call. 5 calls only. We ain't started the show yet.
The people ain't even calling here because all of them can say the same thing.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, so.
Yeah, go ahead. Your point.
Number 1, Center WhatsApp.
I mean, you having a problem with your internet.
Number one.
What am I saying? He said number 1, I gotta hang you up. You gotta know what coming next. Dama, take calls now. Open the line. Dama.
Let me see.
The line open.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Let's see how you are, please.
Yeah, okay. This is James calling from FE Single. Am I live?
You live, Chief. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, the CEO was saying that he was not the main person to push the government out of power. He was not the one, but it was one Witherspoon.
All right.
He led the campaign.
All right, thank you. Yeah, for yourself.
That's one. That meant I would have won. Let's see if we can get over more than 3. That's one.
Okay.
Hello? Yes, let's hear you out, ma'am. See you over there. He said a bad thing about President Weah. Yeah, go ahead.
We're not hearing her. We're not hearing her, Dama.
And I'm hearing her from this side.
What did she say?
She said it wasn't you. The whole country was tired. Yeah. So they decided
there you go. The woman right. Go ahead.
In a relationship.
Take three more. And I will ask you on the show.
Go ahead, sir.
Money about corner calling from Johnsonville.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
We ask talk. Just about now win the election. Let me tell you, he played major part in this election. So today,
he said with us, he called my name.
One person on the show. I talk to you and they listen well to you. Thank you. Don't
now who are that person that talking? Everybody listening?
See you. What else? Thank you.
No, Dama, the phone line giving problem. Let's go ahead with the show. the phone line giving problem, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your course. That's a mistake. The phone line giving problem. But let me ask Acid though, and I think Acid is a fair person, very fair person. Acid, the argument on the floor. We're gonna play the clip. Dualu Opa saying the president have no right to go and enjoy himself. As per this video, the president is communicating with pigeons, asking them to fly, asking them to settle ESN, everything I said do. I said, you're a fair man. Did I fight to remove President we are out of power, Isaac?
Well, CEO, good evening, and good evening to everyone. I
trust you on this one. I do. I really trust you.
My own pap, Mr. Sam Jackson, Dr. Francis Richardson, our brother Diamond, and everyone listening. You know, when I was coming, I was listening to some fairy tale jokes from here, wherein people were enjoying themselves with political talking points, far different from facts.
Yes.
And it's a good thing you asked me that. You know, the president is having the best time of his life. He's on his own, a free person, and came, play his part, and he's gone. But let me just add quick on something that was said when I was on my way coming.
Can you answer my question?
I've answered the question.
No. They are trying to pay me. They are trying to pay me. I want you to claim me.
Well, what happened in the election happened. What everyone played a part. But this is what I want to say. It will be the biggest political joke from a person that will be bent on not being serious at all to ever imagine that the CDC is not, if not the biggest, one of the biggest political movement in our country. People can be entitled to their political opinions, but there's always the storm of fact. You don't need to go to the moon to do any scientific studies. Go to the national legislature. The CDC represents majority of the people's voices in the House. It tells you that the CDC is Liberia's biggest political movement for the fact that our representatives, CDC got the highest, senators, CDC got the highest, and someone will bring one of the biggest political joke that is.
So when we started the show, when I ask you a question, let me go to Sam Johnson.
Any such person.
When we started the show, you will come with a CDC team. Sam Johnson, can you please clear me?
No, I didn't come with. I just wanted to.
Sam Johnson, can you please clear me, please? Did I play that? Excuse me. Uncle Sam, help me out here. Am I not clear? Did I do anything to ask President we have to leave the presidency?
So Stanton, you can't leave the man alone. The man lost. He's having his private sweet life. He's enjoying himself. He's
so happy.
No. I'm defending it.
I don't know why.
So Stanton, so what's your point?
My point here is that I really appreciate President, we are going to speak to pigeons. I really appreciate that the pigeons are listening to him instead of Liberians. I really appreciate he asked the pigeon to fly and they flew away. He asked them to sit in his hand and they sat in his hand.
That's a good
but he
thing.
couldn't do that for Liberia. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Mr. Parker is here to do it now.
I'm not leaving now, man. The puppet asked me, let me answer.
No, I'm helping my own farm. Mr. Parker is here to do it. Mr. We are done.
Let's watch a video briefly. Let's watch this video.
Okay. Oh yeah, make sure that.
I take a photo. Okay.
Top of the wood.
Di sini mereka dapat
Flying good. I know can also get that again. That's really the best. man. I make them fly.
Oh, that is nice. That's nice.
Can you believe me now?
How did they do that?
I just like believe me. I make the birds excited. You believe me now? Let's go. I make them fly. You see the storm now.
Where we told you we are from? Where we told you from? Former president of the Republic of Liberia asking someone if they believe him to make the pigeon fly. I make them fly. And he's happy that pigeons are listening to him. He's happy that he make pigeons fly. But he couldn't help to make Liberia fly.
He did make Liberia fly. So
Oh, man, but don't interrupt me. Let me have my turn now.
I want to make sure we have the
You know
fun.
what? I leave this show. That's a Richardson. When you're ready for me, you'll call me back.
All right, bye. Yeah, I know you're taking over, Eduardo, but before you go, you know, there have been many talks. I usually, if you notice me, I usually try to avoid the issue of comparison between CDC and anybody can come and talk what they want to talk, and George Weah. President Weah, I've seen in the video, in my eyes, what I've seen is a man who came proudly, did his part, left, and he's where he's at. But I want to, no, I don't want you to tell me thank you. I know you have been talking this in Windows and things.
But you then Uncle Jackson has to come here. They come with a little intro.
Okay.
Jackson, welcome to the show, sir. You come in 1 or 2 minutes. Got anything to say? Intro. Because I say it's going to go on a diatribe. We're not here for it. Mr. Jackson, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it's a little bit faint.
A little faint.
Yeah, I think you're low.
Oh, no. That's 50 hours muscle. Yep, Kali, yes, I'm very low, so I don't know what's going on here, my brother. You want to take a look at it? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we're going to try to change the mic. I don't know if you... Okay. So go ahead, Dr. Francine. They're changing the mic. Hopefully.
Yes, tension's back.
Much better?
Yes, much better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm back because, you know, I hate to be interrupted. A few days ago, I asked him on the show and said we should have some cordial, we should have some discipline, we should respect each other's views. And since then, he been interrupting me. Apparently, bringing Isaac back on Spoon Talk was a mistake. I think we should take a vote whether we should keep him or we should let him go. Because
there's not a UP, everybody, UP fine, that's part time finish now. No,
Duadu, why I giving this to you? I must say this to Mr. Jackson question. I do believe that the president has a right to enjoy himself. I think this is form of retirement. Like, you know, Mr. Jackson will travel all over America, South Africa, West Africa, all over. And, you know, he does what he thinks best for him and his family. You know, God bless him with some money. He traveled. So this president is not in government again. Why should we hold him? Why should we, you know, put him out there and saying that he's restricted? Though I would prefer that the president be doing some diplomatic work, still fighting, pushing for Liberians home and abroad. But if the president want to go catch pigeon, if he don't want to go and talk to pigeon and pigeon listen to him, it's up to him. That's his business. Right now, we all should focus about Joseph Yeman Boakai, the leadership, the way forward for our country. What can President Weah do right now? I believe President Weah want to avoid the politics, or as you, Duadu, will say he meddling in the leadership of President Boakai. You, Duadu, will accuse him again and saying that President Boakai being restrained, conditional because of President Weah overplaying his hand as past president. So let's give President Weah the time, let him enjoy himself. After 6 months, he will realize that, yes, home is home. He will come back home, and then he will try to recalibrate and do that which is right for himself and his party. I don't know whether you agree with me, Mr. Jackson, but I beg to move on and for us to start the show, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you very much. I had a great weekend. I spent some quality time with my family, and I'm just I watched Spoon during my spare time. It was wonderful, and there's a lot of things going on in Liberia. I'm looking forward for the boycott so-called rescue train to put the wheels back on. Some of it that fell down off the rails in the last 2 weeks. A couple of tires, fell from the rail. But it's kind of still early in the game. He still has a lot of time. He still has a lot of goodwill with the Liberian people. Confirmation hearings are going on. I mean, it shows our liberal democracy, probably the most vibrant in West Africa. Liberia is probably the most stable in the region. If you look at Niger, you look at Mali, you look at Burkina Faso, you look at Guinea with military governments, we have a thriving democracy that has lasted now for more than since like 18 years. This is our third consecutive orderly change of government. And we may not be as prosperous as we want, as we wish, but Liberia has a great potential and a great future. And I think we should leave President Weah alone, let him enjoy his retirement. If he wants to speak to pigeons and play with pigeons, that's his prerogative.
Thank you very much. I agree with you. You just said what I said, but let's move on. Dr. Richardson, as always, we'll be talking about the confirmation hearing of Sarah Beslow Yanti today. We'll be talking about the newly appointed folks. You have 4 on this list. I think there's a mistake on this list that we need to talk about. Again, guys, as you can see, we have reestablished ourselves, put ourselves in the new format of our new chat room where everyone involved, you can find the link, everything in that chat room. And that's the place where exchange one of the best ideas. Mr. Dwalu and the Peoples. Mr. Dwalu, why you put Mr. Command instead of Mr. Period?
I think it was a mistake. But it's always Tom was going to change that for me. But Stanton, I slightly disagree with my brother there, Samuel Jackson, about let's leave President Weah alone. President Weah was a president of this country. His decision affected people's lives, majority negatively. If those decisions are continuing to affect people's lives, he cannot be left alone. We have to speak about what he did in this country, good or bad. We have to speak about him because real people got affected. It is not President Weah's life alone. It's the life of the very 5 million people that he ruled over. Whether he left a greater legacy, he made their lives better, is a question to be asked. If those people's lives are being disadvantaged and President Weah is going to take the loot of this country to benefit him and his lackey, and they go ahead and they go merrymaking in the Western country while Liberia is left 10, 15 years backward, it's something we got to talk about. The analogy is like, I'm a wife beater. I beat the woman and then I leave her black and blue. Then I move on with my life. Say, well, let you leave me. I already know Leo. Let me judge. When I start talking about Leo, I was saying, no, she's black and blue. Liberia is black and blue. The person that's made Liberia black and blue is President Weah. We speak about him because what he did to this country. If he wasn't president, nobody will be speaking about President Weah. His decisions are continuing to negatively impact this country. Honorable Jackson, you can travel. You can go anywhere in the world. I see you having breakfast every single morning. I know you know this country way more than I do. Come and see your people. Come and see how destitute they are. I read your book like 15 times. Rich Land, Poor Country. What we doing wrong, Mr. Jackson? What we doing wrong? What we're doing wrong is we take the lights of President Weah, the least capable among us, who made him president, and we expect diligence. It ain't gonna happen. Stanton.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson.
Good day so far. It's good to see everybody as we talk about leadership in our country, as the president goes on to appoint. I can't help but to think about just the qualities and the type of leaders that we want in our country. And I was reflecting on positional leader versus a leader who serves the people, a people server. A positional leader is the type of leader that is promoted, it's because they got a title, so they function according to their title. They're very task oriented. And a leader who is serving the people, work for the people, serve the people, serve from the heart, use ethics, competence, and education in order to make the country a better place. So I just wanted to put that out there So just so that we should keep the idea of leadership as we go through these nominations. That's my opening comment.
Thank you very much. Brother Doe?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my opening comment would be like this. Usually, like I said, I don't like to come on here to be defending CDC, but let me open with this. President Weah came in with meeting a very bad country and left it better. That President Baika is in heaven. And it is our hope that if Mr. President Baika is leaving, it will be even best so that Liberia can continue.
You kind of sound, the sound is not too good coming from you, Isaac.
Am I okay now?
Better.
Right. So as I was saying, I don't like to come on here defending CDC, but it seems to be people want to make it the issue of CDC and Unity Party. CDC has done this part. As of me, I've been one of the proudest sons to have worked under the CDC-led government. But let's go down the drain. This is how I want to open. When President Weah took over, he met $7 million in a consolidated account. He left $40 million in consolidated account. When President Weah took over, he met less than $94 million in our reserve. He left more than $220 million in a reserve. When President Weah took over, he met about 600 kilometers of roads. He left over 1,200 kilometers of roads. When President Weah took over, he did not meet any at-risk youth, Zogos, being worked on. And when he left with 520 at-risk Zogo being worked on, reintegrated, rehabilitated, and they are good. In addition to that, he also left 178 at-risk youth right now waiting for graduation. Let me go down the list. When President Weah came in here, he did not meet a country of a playground. Today, he left Liberia with multiple of recreational places where families and kids can go to play and have fun. Today, some of those places, like the PHP Park, is being used as a ground where people, after wedding, go to take picture. And let me tell you that PHP Park was meant as a place where people used to go poo-poo and robbery, killing, is being transformed to a modernized place. And let me say this again. When President Weah came, he met $500 million of budget. He left $700 million of budget. When President Weah came in, he did not meet the NPA headquarters. He did not meet Maritime headquarters. He did not meet NSA headquarters. He did not meet LPRC headquarters. He did not meet the Douala market. He did not meet the Omega market. He did not meet the Bomi market. He did not meet Meriden market. He did not meet the Douala market. He did not meet the Oro market. He left all of these when he was leaving. And I will go further again. When President Weah came in, he met a national sports stadium that was not at international level, for which it was banned by FIFA. When he left, he made that stadium to be the envy of West Africa, including being used by other countries as their home toy. And that was after spending less than $3 million on leg when $18 million was spent, yet still. And let me go further again. When President Weah came, he met about 35,000 households.
Let me end.
Let me end.
The intro is for 45 seconds, man. You can't be going on like that.
These people come. We
want
to come and discuss Liberia. People want to bring this political thing in the back. Let's not bring citizen things. Now you know what? Why we don't want to go that route. So let us discuss Liberia under Mr. Baika.
I said, hold on 1 minute. I said, hold on 1 minute. I don't know this thing, I say. Introduction, your intro for the program is 45 seconds to a minute.
This is how I wanted to introduce myself.
Your time.
No, you have your time to speak. We're begging you. That's
why let's discuss Liberia. All the people that know, let's discuss it now. Leave that George reality and go
over it. I say, do not interrupt us. Watch some video. See the person catching pigeon. We'll come back to you. Lenny, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man.
Excited, bro. Even the birds were excited to see him, according to President Weah. Am I supposed to give my opening?
Yes, ma'am. Just 45 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's interesting. We cannot move on with Liberia without including George Weah's reign. We cannot. It's impossible. I know people will want us to do that. We cannot ignore that because that is a direct record we're coming on after. So everything we talk here, we're going to talk about Weah, what he did, what he was able to do, what he was not able to do. There will be instances where he will also be compared to Honorable Boyka. So that one is a no-brainer. He will be compared. And I'm I'm not going to go there. There are a lot of things happening today. Two women where I like to focus on the fact that the two nominees for health ministry and foreign ministry was their confirmation hearings were heard today. I think just the presentation, we can talk about it more. I think the fact that we had two women up there today spoke a lot, and the questions that they were answered, I wish them well. Looking forward to a very spirited discussion. I can see some people are already ready, and we all will set in motion to go with whatever the flow is. So hello to everybody. Hello, Doc.
Thank you very much, Glennie. Actually, the folks, they want the best out of Spoon. And I'm so happy that we have a different group over here. If you want to join Spoon Talk panelists, you want to be part of the show, reach out to me, Dwalu, Dr. Richie, say anyone information you have. We will just make sure that we bring some discipline on the show because this is about the people. This is the way forward. We cannot do it all. We want this program to reach the uttermost path, the uttermost part of Liberia. And that's what we're doing, everything we can. Let's talk about everybody, the president, the lawmakers, everybody. That's the best. If you see something, you say something. You hear something, say something. You get the information, share it, we'll discuss it. We are not taking side. And I will not take side. But I want to say I appreciate everyone here. So today, we're so happy to see Sarah Beslow Yanti. She was brought in for confirmation hearing. We'll discuss it. That should be the first thing on our agenda. And I would love for us to, have this discussion openly and see where you guys stand, though. While the others are coming in, I really want us to see where you guys stand. Dr. Richardson, Sarah Beslow Yanti, went into the Capitol building on the Senate floor, raise her right hand, and say, I swear and do solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. You watch a portion of it or all of it? What's your takeaway? I'm not asking whether she should be confirmed. I'm asking your takeaway first.
Well, I have to say that some of the questions that she was asked they were very interesting. I entered watching it when Jean Bonnie was asking her questions about the world conflict in Ukraine and other parts of the world. And, she did answer correctly, said that a lot of her answers, she said she needed to do more research. She's waiting until she gets confirmed by them so that she can go out and assess the situation at the foreign ministry, and then she'll be able to provide feedback. I'm just looking at, she said that she didn't get enough notes from the transitional team in order to make informed decisions about the foreign ministry and some of the problems and challenges, but she recognized that there were challenges. They did ask her the passport situation, and she's looking to bring change, but she also do more research for analysis. She recognized that we needed to stop the barrier between the Mono River Union countries. She talked about there's too many checkpoints that stop economic barriers. She thought the idea of making Sannikoli a legacy kind of heritage city for African Unity Organization to come is a good idea. Somebody brought that up. I can't remember who brought that up, but she never thought about that. It was a good idea. They kept on asking about Liberia's strategic foreign relation. What was Liberia's foreign relation policy? And one thing I think she said that she wants to move Liberia away from having a parent-stepchild relationship with America to more of a sibling relationship. you know, so those were, and they brought up the money situation, how much we owe ECOWAS. Snow brought that up, and you know, she will advocate that the president pays the money. But you know, so she answered. She was very courteous to the guys. She was friendly to them. You know, she said if they, you know, confirm her, she, you know, she'll work with them. So that was, you know, really good. That's what my take. I took notes like the best I could. There were different interesting topics that it brought up.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thanks a lot. Mr. Dwalu?
Well, for me, the confirmation today, and as I was listening, it seems the Senate, how do I put this? They just accept any answers without even pushing back. They allow the destiny or the appointee to come in there and just answer their question however he or she chooses. Now, I understand we are focused on Madam Sarah Yanti here, but her responses were like, you know, I would just tell them whatever comes to mind. They were not detailed, and nobody pushed back at her. The senators just, it seemed like if to say they didn't even do their own research to come and ask poignant questions to make sure the vetting process continues. I'm not sure whether some of these senators are fully aware that the interviewing process is actually to gauge the person's preparedness and capability to be able to occupy that space. But they would just ask questions that's not pertaining to the topic, and whatever answer she gave, they just accept it and move on. Now, this is not a suggestion in any way, shape, or form from the Sarah Yanti Brigade that this is against Madam Yanti, but it's to say the senators have to do more because we want to know more about the appointee before the appointee is confirmed. That's all I'm saying here, Stanton.
Thank you very much, Dwalu. Them folks again baking, guys, because we'll be many on the show tonight. Let's stay within the confines of our talking time. We'll go down to Minister Isaac Doe. Your takeaway from the hearing today?
Well, I feel good. I think it's the first time in a while. I feel proud of President Boakai for that pick, and of course sticking by the pick despite gossip pressure from other places. The first time too, I felt proud of his nominee, Sarah, and also I felt proud of the Senate, the senators. I thought I saw a woman who was prepared, eloquent, with knowledge of where she's going, someone who was ready to fire, and I thought she fired out. The senators as well. I was so proud of them because they weren't asking questions based on gossip. They were asking questions that matter to Liberia, things where Liberia should have a say, asking how Liberia can be great again. And I thought I was proud. That's just all I can say.
Hey, Minister, sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I was very much impressed with the eloquence and the understanding of the subject matter by Ambassador Yanti. I wasn't surprised. I've known her for a long time. She's a brilliant woman, and I think she did exceptionally well. I think she made her points, and the senators too were very courteous to her. They were very respectful, and there was an indication that our labor democracy is very strong, that we have a vibrant democracy. We have frank exchanges of views, and she held her own, and I think she did excellent. Very, very excellent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. Thank you. Glennie?
So I want to start from what she had on, because I think that had an impact on me in the color. I mean, everybody may not see it, but I saw the color was a friendly color, a friendly yellow, meaning that it gave me the impression that she was going to be able to answer the questions that she was asked, and she was going to be courteous. So that color, that yellow color with a Liberian country cloth mixed in it, made me proud to see a Liberian woman. And she wasn't the only one today, but to see her being interviewed for that role. I don't know history, but I almost want to think that if she is confirmed, she will probably be the first female, or maybe there was one before, I don't remember, foreign minister. So that was very, for me, I looked at that today, I looked at what she had on and how she responded questions. I like to emphasize, like Mr. Jackson said, Sam Jackson said, that it was a cordial environment. They were very poised. Everybody were asking the questions. Some people may have gone over a little bit, but I think they asked the questions that they wanted. They may not have asked all, because I was in the live feed reading. Suffice it to say that there were some questions that they may not have asked based on what the populace wanted. But I'm sure the questions they wanted to ask, they had asked. And so I think also it was a great confirmation hearing. I think she did well. I want to also compliment Senator Dillon for doing a great job on that. Sometimes we don't get all that we need to get, and we can't interject ourselves into what people say and think. But I think the confirmation hearing was good for me today.
All right, thank you very much. Let me bring in. You changed your name, Bapolubo Ambula. Oh, okay, Bapolubo Ambula. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of time to follow the confirmation, but we got briefing notes, and I managed to listen to excerpt. I think the country is making a little bit of progress. I mean, bit by bit. I got two sides to this. Today we didn't see the Geo Devil, we didn't see the Max Densor. The environment was civilized and calm. People had the opportunity to exchange. We having confirmation. I mean, people are asking questions. I listened to the Destiny. She speaks well. She's a good talker. She sounds more of somebody who understands what she's going to do, probably being properly briefed about the affairs like anybody who going in the position would do. But I think broadly the Senate and the executive did not do her justice at the end of the day. And this is what I say so. I think they hurt her more than they helped her today. The decision, the strategy, the consensus between the executive and the legislature to hide and avoid asking questions around legitimate concerns and credible reports about the Destiny getting a bachelor's degree in 6 months, evidence available about how she enrolled into a master's degree program without a bachelor's degree, and the evidence to justify how such enrollment occurred. That decision, I mean, that good display she did today with everything around her experience, the decision to just cover up everything and just close up all discussion around credential, I think it hurt her. It creates more doubt. It makes people to believe that, oh, is it that maybe she doesn't have answer to these questions? That's the reason why they don't want to even go there. Is it that the evidence too strong against her? That's why they just decide to cover it up. I think it hurt her more than it helped her today. They should have given her the opportunity. They should have investigated to prove her accusers wrong and say the Senate have established with evidence that all the claims around the 6-month BSc, the claims around entering the master's degree without a bachelor, we have evidence that all those claims are wrong. And Madam Blesso Nyanti is hereby qualified to go and serve. They should have allowed an opportunity to do that, to just cover up the St. Liberia way. I think it creates more doubt on her, even though she displayed well, and that doubt will continue to live with her for a long period of time. They should create a condition to clarify those doubts. That's how I would say it.
Thank you very much, Ambula. Thanks. Prince Maxwell, welcome to the show.
Hey, Stanton.
You have a minute, sir.
Thanks. I appreciate you welcoming me and to my colleague on the show today. And to the Liberian people, first and foremost, I would like to say thanks to Senator Dillon, the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. My assessment today, because I watched the entire hearing from start to finish, my assessment of the committee today, I think the committee established committee supremacy. I think other committees of the Senate need to take cue from this committee Senator DeLon was a leader. He showed leadership. He showed tenacity. He showed honesty. He showed brilliance. I think the committee was distinguished, dignified, respectful, smart, organized, thoughtful, and effective in doing their duty for Liberian people. I think every Liberian out there who voted these cohorts of honorable men and women should be proud of themselves from every county. They represent Liberia to the fullest today. I would disagree with my colleague, Ambula. I think there was no issue of cover up. I think the Senate was very broad. They asked questions on credentials. They asked questions on knowledge. They asked questions on her integrity. They asked questions on the issue of her cognitive understanding of Liberian foreign policy. I think they asked questions across the board. I don't think there was any condition set. I think the only conditionality here right now is the idea that Madame Beslow has proven beyond reasonable doubt, by whatever degree she has, those credentials that she stand up on is clearly justified by her eloquence shown today, not only just as a woman, but as a Liberian woman. And we should all be proud of that. I was listening to the show right a minute before coming on, and I heard each and every panelist cheering her on, stating clearly the eloquence, the dignity, the poise.
You listen to this show?
Of course. I do listen to my own show.
And you say each and everyone on the show was celebrated by the
95% of our panelists today.
Thank you for correcting.
So, and I'm adding myself to 95%. So certainly she exemplified the morality we want to see in our leadership. Most importantly, when she felt she didn't know something, she exhibited clear understanding of that by saying, when I get there, I will produce information and I will get right back to the Honorable House of Representatives and Senate and work with you guys to solve the problem. Issue of passport was discussed. She attacked it properly. Issue of gay rights was discussed. She attacked it properly. Issue of our relations with our historical partners was attacked. She answered properly, and on and on and on. This woman stood on a pedestal that young girls and boys can exemplify for tomorrow. Thank you so much to Madam Sarah Beslow Yanti for proving to Liberian people that she is what she says she is. And Honorable DeLon have made it clear that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, or in Liberia as we call it, the Senate Relation on Foreign Affairs, is indeed the supremacy right now in the House of Senate. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson, Mr. Dwalu, Isaac Joe, Samuel Jackson, Glendy, Bapolo, Ambula. Listen, we're going to have our say here tonight, and we're going to speak to Liberians home and abroad. We're going to speak to the senators. This committee is chaired by Senator Abraham Darius DeLong, co-chaired by Sir Joseph. The rest of them, you know them. Amara Cornyn, Bolcha Subwe, Edwin Bevan Snow. You know them all. But who is Sarah Beslow? I listened to part of the program. I was in communication with some of the senators. I do agree, Sarah Beslow Yanti, despite whatsoever my brother Bapadu Ambula may say, Martin Cody would say, and the rest of the crew would say, it was a good thing that Liberia went through to fight and vet Sarah in the way that they have never seen before. On her credentials, her experience. Make no mistake, because she is a woman. No. This is about Liberia. At some point, we should come in our lives today, and in the future, to fight for what we believe in. It was a good thing that she was exposed to a lot of stuff. Did she attend those university, her transcript, her diploma, her degrees? I appreciate everyone that contributed to those fights. Seriously. I think it makes her stronger. I think she must deliver now. But what I heard Sarah saying today, the Reverend, the ambassador, the coordinator, what I heard her saying today when she opened her mouth, I think she will serve Liberia well. Let's weigh our options, folks. Let's weigh our options. Does she have the experience? I can ask anyone on the set. And I would take my time, and somebody tell me, please. Does Sarah have the experience to represent Liberia as the dean of the cabinet, as a foreign minister representing the country, representing the interests? Does she have the experience? First question. Dr. Richardson, everything you heard from Sarah, not on her education credential, we got to come to a place in our life to speak truth to power. Do you think Sarah has the experience, Dr. Richardson?
I'm going to answer you the way Sarah answered the Senate. She said, yes, she does have the experience. And she said that she created teams at the United Nations. But I didn't hear her extrapolate how she will use the creation of team into creating teamwork in the cabinet. So
Thank you.
It sounds like she said she created teams at the UN.
Thank you, Mr. Dwalu. Take away her education credential, please. The misstep that the CSCC, Mame, Martin Colley, and the rest of the guys fighting her on. Does Sarah possess the experience to represent Liberia home and abroad as foreign minister? We're not hearing you, sir.
Compared to what we had before her predecessor.
Can you please repeat? You're very low. Who's in the studio? Can they put you up a little bit? We're not hearing you, please.
As loud gets, I don't know. Can you hear me, guys? I mean,
yeah, but bring the mic closer.
Yeah,
bring the mic closer.
Olivier, you can fix it. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me now, Spencer. Can you hear me?
You're good. You're good. Thank you.
Yes, I said compared to what we had before her direct predecessor, she's in a different stratosphere. She does have the experience. There is no doubt about that.
Thank you very much. I said, though, does she have the experience? I want us to be on record here, though.
CEO, you keep putting me in a very difficult position. A CDC man coming to be defending something coming from United Party. But let me say for Liberia, she has more than the experience. Yeah.
Mr. Jackson?
It's clear that she's an extremely brilliant woman with the stellar, what should I say, stellar record at the UN. I mean, special representative of the Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General of the UN. I mean, those are stellar hallmarks of somebody who has the experience. I mean, clearly she does. And Liberians should be very proud to have a woman of that stature, you know, to ascend to be foreign minister. I mean, and you know, I understand the disagreements of my young colleagues, you know, on academics. However, I mean, I just basically saw a very brilliant woman who seemed to have all of what it takes to make Liberia, to put Liberia on the map in terms of our foreign policy. I think she does.
Thank you. Thank you. Glendy?
I think knowing Sarah Bessler for me today was a confirmation of who I already know her to be. And I think she does have the prerequisite experience. I also think that she proved that to the populace of Liberians and others who watched her today, that those who didn't know her, they got to know her, and they know that she does have the experience that we need for the position, the experience that we need for the region, and it's even more true now that she will do her best to be able to perform the duties that is expected and to take Liberia from where it is. So she does have the requisite experience.
Thank you very much, Glendy. Mame?
There has been no doubt about Madame Bessler Nyanti's experience having worked with the United Nations. More than that, I trust the president whose foreign policy agenda she should be advancing. He knows what he wants to achieve with his foreign mission, and he believes to the extent that he can bend back forward to get her confirmed. I believe she knows what she wants to do. But for me as an individual, looking at her resume and the service she did in the United Nations, I have no doubt. I have had no doubt, and I have no doubt over her experience as a foreign service professional. In terms of
thank you very much.
We wait forward to see the outcome of her service to country.
Thank you very much, Prince.
Look, Stanton, today I was mesmerized. I was mesmerized by words and ideological thinking. Let me just say this for you. Let me just sum it up in words so that you understand the succinct belief in her experience. She spoke about geopolitical transnational issues. How often do you hear people in Liberia use such words and terminologies? Only people who understand the field of international diplomacy use words like that. She spoke about something that we've never really spoke about in Liberia foreign policy. She spoke about it, which kind of caught me off guard. Humanitarian diplomacy with the nexus of development diplomacy. Who talks about that? These are strategic thinkers sitting down around tables making global decisions that think.
So she has the experience.
More than the experience. That's what I'm saying to you.
Thank you.
More than the experience. Plus the determination.
Thank you. So here's the issue, guys. Again, Eduardo will take over the show, or Dr. Rich is saying at 5 o'clock. I have to run into a meeting. But I will say my piece and you can continue. It is important to note, and I will repeat myself, male or female, woman or man in Liberia, they should go under such scrutiny. We should hold them. We should push them. We should talk about it. This too will make Liberia better. This too will make Liberia better. But I'm proud to say, I will call on Senator DeLong tonight. I'm going to call on the co-chair, Sir Joseph, tonight. I will call on the lawmakers, the Amaracona, and the Bocha Survey, all of them that have the power to confirm or deny Sarah Beth's loyalty. That whatever the case may be, I think she should be confirmed. I think she should be confirmed. She's eloquent. She spoke well. She disciplined. Her records show, her experience show. If there's a misstep in her education credential, we can hold her to it and she will make some adjustment. Listen, I would praise Martin Colley any day, Abula Mame any day, and the rest of the team. Because what is happening now, it have never happened before, to vet people's credentials. But I think I must say openly that I would say to them privately, Liberia would be proud if the senators can send Sarah Beth Loyanti to represent Liberia as the next foreign minister. I believe Liberia will be proud. It's up to Sarah to prove the rest of us wrong or right. But I think and I believe it's something when I heard her speaking. I listened to her. I put my phone earpiece in my ear, then I put it on loud volume. I took it from my ear. And I was looking at her answer. I know you disagree with me. Somebody on our live feed, I'm not calling your name. It's okay for you to disagree with me. This to make Liberia better. But where the two? It's a woman working South Sudan through bullets. Nepal, Nigeria. How many years of experience? You go home and think about it. I know Mama will look at me, but you still my friend, man. Martin's still my friend. But I think what you guys are doing is so unique. The other folks We examine and re-examine the credential. But I will say to Abraham Darius Delon, chair on the committee. I will say to Sir Joseph, co-chair on the committee, Edwin Mervyn Snow, the rest of them, the pro tem, Boto Kanen, Deba Vabala, and the rest of them, everybody. I hope you can give Sarah Beslo Yanti 100% confirmation. Period. I don't think we can get anybody so unique. I don't think we can have anybody so disciplined. I don't think we can have anybody so better right now than Sarah Beslo Yanti in representing Liberia. I always love to go into the fight. I always love to dig deeper. But when I put my 2 plus 2 together and my understanding and my own mindset, then I sit back, I draw my conclusion. So tonight, before I leave you, hey man, Dwalu was sending me a bad text. That's okay, Dwalu. Tonight, before I leave you, Mr. Jackson, Minister Doe, Dwalu, Dr. Richardson, Abula, Prince Maxwell, Glendy, and the rest of the guys that will be joining us, I will ask those senators. I will call Senator Delon. Me, I will do it. I will call Edwin Snow and Sir Joseph. I would beg them to beg the colleague to give Sarah Beslo Yanti 100% confirmation.
I wouldn't do that.
Brother, I say me. I say you.
Okay. Well, you come and need the
No, I'm calling your attention. I'm calling your attention. I say me. I say you. If you ever left Liberia and went through what some of us continue to go through, and went through what Sarah went through on her cancer, and went through what she went through on her family, and went through what people are going through today, ask Sam Jackson when he was in New York. Rejection upon rejection, but you got to fight. And you can reach that level in your life and go back to your country and say, I want to serve. I hope and I pray that they listen to us as they draw the conclusion and they confirm Sarah Beslo Yanti. I have not spoken to her, but I will send her a text and say congratulations, and I pray that you be confirmed. And I wish her well, and I know she will serve well. This too is Liberia, and this is my position. I'm sticking to it. Y'all have a good night, folks, and y'all have a good show. I have a meeting to attend. Till we meet again tomorrow, may God bless you all, and may God keep you all. My position on this one, confirm, Sarah Beslo Yanti, 100%. Liberia deserves her, and she deserves Liberia, and she will represent Liberia well. Have a good night.
Go eat your potato green, my man. Go.
Long, so I guess I will do the next half an hour or so and then go back to you. Uncle Sam, if you want to come in, we understand we're not going to focus on her experience as to speak to her qualifications, whether she's more than qualified, agrees to that. But Uncle Sam, that's a twist to this whole thing. Can you speak briefly to the issue that Martin Cuddy raised, whether it has any validity as it relates to these nominees, not just Sarah Beslo Yanti alone, but to everybody else? Should we even question people's educational credentials, or we just forget about it going forward?
So, I think a credentials audit is necessary, is valid, and it's important in any democracy or in any institution, because people who went to school, who paid the price, who sacrificed, who had the discipline, they cannot be diminished by people who took shortcuts. So it is important for the CSC to do that. But what I saw with this particular analysis by CSC, they have some valid points, you know. I mean, I would have hoped that Sarah would have gone to the best schools in the world. That was my hope. I would have, because she deserves that. But she met the minimum standards of accreditation, which is national accreditation, and she was able to, in a degree verified analysis, I mean, her degree was verified. Now, whether you want to look at Western governors and Andrew Jackson as schools like third and fourth tier schools, that's a totally different argument. Okay, I mean everyone can't go to LSE, everybody cannot go to Harvard, everybody cannot go to Ivy League, right? But at least she made an honest attempt to get a credential. She got a credential, and on top of that, she performed superbly in the international organization, an organization that I was associated with for 2 years as a senior economist in a high-level panel. And I know the UN system, and I know the requirements in terms of you have to have a certain degree of intellectual depth. Intellectual depth to exist within the UN, because I can tell you on the high-level panel, to sit in the room with Abhijit Banerjee, Nobel Prize laureate, to sit in the room with Dr. Homi Karas of the Brookings Institution, to sit in the room with Jeffrey Sachs, to sit in the room with William Ngozi and argue economic points, and we produce sustainable development. And Sarah went to Nepal, she went to South Sudan that I worked in briefly, and she was able to achieve, she was able to exist in that sort of environment. You have to give this woman some kudos.
Thank you, Hussein. Mehmet, let me come to you, and we know we allow the show. Let's just stick to the question directly. I understand Hussein went up the tangent there for a second. The focus here is, Mehmet, and I want you to just speak directly to this. Why is education credential being important for any nominee, for that matter? Why is it important that they meet the educational requirement, if there is one for that position?
There's nothing much here about requirement for public positions in Liberia. The Constitution gives the president the authority to appoint. Yeah, you can have statutes that set minimum requirement, but the president has constitutional authority to appoint. What we have said and continue to say, and it is not about Cyril. It's not about an individual. CACC is an institution. Started ever since on we are. Everything we're doing here, we did it on we are. We have investigated around 78 credentials. Of those, only 9 of them are women. 9, including Cyril. All are men. But because Cyril to the 14 again women. No. 78, only 9 are women. The rest are men. So, to your question about requirements, why it's important? What is important here now is not about meeting a requirement of having a degree. It's about the credibility issues that surround an individual who academic attainment is under question. Dualu, you send your child to school, Liberian listening to me, you send your child to a bachelor's degree program. In 6 months, the child comes back to you with a degree and put it on the wall. 6 months. When the school the child went to says before you obtain a bachelor's degree, you must have spent 40 months. In 6 months, the child brings a degree. Doesn't it warrant question? Doesn't it warrant investigation? That was the situation with Cyril. She entered a university that says to acquire a bachelor's degree, you must spend at least 40 months. But she spent 6 months. It raises concern.
Thank you.
That concern have not been addressed, even though she's qualified, she's competent, the Senate wants her, the president wants her. She said she wanted to upgrade her capacity after she entered into the UN system. Knowing that anybody who wants to upgrade their capacity when you don't have a bachelor's degree, the first thing you do is to go for a bachelor's degree if you want to upgrade your capacity. But the first thing she went for was a master's degree when she knew she did not have a bachelor's degree. So we say, okay, how did you get into a master's degree program? What are the pieces of evidence that show that you did not fake a bachelor's degree to be able to enter a master's degree program? These are all doubts hanging over the foreign minister that we hope the Senate would have investigated and say, oh, CSCC, no, here's the evidence on this one. Or not CSCC, but Liberia. Here's the evidence on this one about the credential of your foreign minister. Here's the evidence on this one. So it clears the doubt over her. To not have done that, the doubt remains there and it's not good for her. Even though she qualified and competent as per the requirements set by the Senate and the president. But though doubt over her is not helpful.
Thank you. Cisco Lenny, before I go to my brother Asido here, I will come to Cisco Lenny. Cisco Lenny, the issue we are talking about here, like guys in the audience, the issue is this has nothing to do with hate. For a very long time, we did not discuss what's pertaining to Liberia because they that the people think we can no longer accept that. Speaking about something doesn't necessarily mean you hate that person in a way, shape, or form. Cisco, let me come to you. Why is it important? We understand qualifications are there. Well, why is it important that the truthfulness of your educational claims are also there? Why is that important for any nominee for that matter?
I think Mame said a little bit about it. I think it's about your credibility. People want to be able to believe in you and trust in you. So either way, education is always important, no matter what. And also experience also come, but then you have to look at the position as a whole. You can have a doctorate degree and not have the prerequisite experience for a position. And most times when you go to job interviews, they're gonna say, yes, what's your qualification as it relates to education, but also what's your experience. And sometimes people hire you based on experience. I don't want anyone or even myself to think that it wasn't important or her credentials it doesn't matter. Her credentials does matter. And I think there was a follow-up question that Senator Dillon made that he asked her about it. And he said that I think he will follow up or they will get some information and she would explain. But I don't think it's not important. I think it's important because people want to be able to hold, it's almost like an objective question. Like I'm asking you this question, and when you tell me you have a master's degree, that's what I have to hold. That's what I know that you have, and that's what I can relate to you and say, this is what you have. But it's important. But today, I think the confirmation hearing, I think regardless of what her educational background is, the experience, her experience today showed up more than what her education was. And that does not limit the fact that education is important.
Okay. Brother Joe, we're going to come to you. We've spoken about, we're not arguing against whether she's prepared to occupy this space. But I'm going to come to you. During the previous administration under President Weah, we heavily went after people. There was a lot of people with fake degree in the system. A lot of people were chastised, even questioned for working in the CDC administration. Some of whom did not even have degree. We went after them. People get degree because this is a benchmark. It's a standard set. Do you think the issue of following those standards are still important, or should we just disregard those standards also altogether?
Well, I think it's important. It's very much important. But this is what I'll say. We have to be careful as to who is questioning based on what. We have to have one standard, not one standard for Dr. Richardson and a different one for Isaac. So how does it work? If you apply for a job, you send your credentials and your CV and everything to your prospective employers. Now, what I will say now is employers now should do due diligence in ensuring what you send them is authentic. So in the space of the political gathering, how does it work? If you are appointed by the president, the next thing you will do is to ensure you send every bit and piece of your document, your educational background, your CV to each senator. The senators then go ahead and do their own verifications on the things you present them to ascertain the facts. In my mind, If a senator has a doubt of something, that's when they come to ask you to clarify those things. But if Isaac Doe just decide to bring up something on Facebook, and then I feel the senators must ask you because I feel that is there, it basically may get us frustrated because the senators are the ones having the actual record and they've done their own background investigations. They won't go to perform their duties based on what I think. It is important, I think. It shows that education should be the cornerstone by which all of us thrive. But I just want to be careful in who is questioning what and for what purpose. And we should allow the legal authorities to do the right thing and ensure the results should be reflective of the right things they've done. And that's what I want to appreciate the Senate as well.
Thank you. And we're going to put my brother Maxwell here. Maxwell, I'll give you a scenario. I have two surgeons. They both can perform the task. One went to medical school, the proper medical school, has the proper pedigree. Another did not go to medical school, but he's performed several surgeries well. Who will you choose, Mr.
Well, first and foremost, Dwalu, we're not talking about surgeons here. We're talking about foreign policy.
Yeah,
So I do understand it. I do understand the analogy being given, but most importantly, let's pivot right back to foreign policy making and implementation, because that's where we are. That's what we are talking about. That's where when the mistakes are made, and if blood vessels, the arteries, are not properly aligned to the needs and the aspiration of Liberian people, whether we're talking about issue of development, hard infrastructure or soft infrastructure, it becomes a quasi situation to deal with. You understand? Poverty increase. There are so many cascading effects to that, but that is not in a surgical room. That's in a population of 5 million people. So you can see that this woman has a greater implication of far more than a surgeon dealing with one patient. She is dealing with a group of 5 million people where if she doesn't do her job appropriately, we are going to be seriously impacted, including the Liberian diaspora. So she's doing even far more greater job than a surgeon who's just working on one individual. So I cannot put her in that bracket. But let's come back to the issue here. Now, a lot of people would say Maxwell is talking, for Madame Beslow. I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been hungry for leadership. Let me give you a little scenario. Her Excellency Olubanki King Akirili and Her Excellency Madam Majon Kamara has been the only two post-war serving foreign ministers female. Very soon, when confirmed by the constitutionally divined committee of the Senate Foreign Relations or Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, she will become Her Excellency as well, the third in Liberia post-war history. That's a milestone for us. Now, let's focus on the key issue here. She will be defending our democracy internationally and exerting our foreign policy footprint globally and regionally. That's no joke. Today she was asked a very tricky question, and Big Brother Sam can bring us back to earth if I'm wrong on this. She was asked about ECOWAS. She was asked how we are going to pivot our way in the MRU, owing to the fact that we have regional and global instability. These questions are pivotal to the security of Liberian people, not just the security, but to our sovereignty. She answered it with poise, dignity, and eloquence. Now, the honorable senators in there are honorable, consciously, deeply thinking individuals. Why would we take the opportunity to allow them to think deep for Liberian people? That's what they were appointed for. That's what they were elected. So that's where my stop. And if they say she's ready for the job and she's qualified for the job, I believe she's ready and she's qualified for the job.
Thank you so much, Prince. I'm going to Dr. Francine. We're going to switch the topic up a little bit before I run away from you guys. Dr. Francine, during Honorable A.B. Kruman's appointment, confirmation, he did mention he wanted the DEA officers to make a minimum of $400. I've been saying this for a long time. I don't want anybody in the AFL, especially, to make less than $500. In fact, I want them to be paid on the 1st and 15th and not be paid every 30 days because I believe it's a long time. We have to do something about our soldiers and our servicemen in this country. They have to make a living wage. The currently do not make a living wage. Yes, my question to you. We want to fight drug in this country, and I do agree with Director Kurman. And we want to raise these guys' salary from where it is, $75, $90 to $400. What significance is that going to play in terms of fighting drugs in this country and the Zogorization of Liberia? How is that going to help us? You're muted, Dr. Francine.
Yeah. So the first thing we have to, think about is, does the budget of Liberia allows us to be able to pay people $400 a month at this moment? However, the goal is good. I think the recommendation to pay people $400 a month to fight drug is good, because once we have the DEA officers making a living wage, something that they can rely on, something they can count on, then they will do their job, at least, to the best of their ability. There'll be some people who will just be there to collect money, or will not be properly trained. And then they won't be depending on, bribes, taking bribes for the drugs to come into the country, because it's going to defeat the purpose of them being there. So yes, I think that, we need to study the how we pay everybody in the civil service organization. We talked about harmonizing the pay earlier. That's what the CDC government did. So is that still should remain like that, or should we look at working out our budget in a way that the parents should get paid? But yes, I think that increasing their pay will reduce the probability for them to accept bribes for drugs. More drugs are coming to the country.
Okay, before I go to Samuel Jackson, I'm going to go to Meme. Meme, here's the question to you, though, brother. Honorable Kurman is talking about raising its pay to $400. Dr. Francis said maybe she suggested we don't have the budget for it. I disagree with that. I believe we have the budget for it, because I can find our money literally tomorrow in the budget and make sure police officers, especially the soldiers of this country, are paid a living wage. It's in the 2,000, maybe 2,500 of that. Maybe how does pay correlate to fighting the drug issue in this country? Is there any correlation there, or we shouldn't even worry about the pay?
I think we should worry about it. But when I listen to AB, he seems to be genuine about what he's saying. But I know most of the time people taking public position will do that. They will do that to get the support of the base they're going to serve. They want the people in their position to see their incoming leader as an advocate for them, for their welfare. So he used that opportunity to present himself as this new advocate for his employees. That is one side of it. The other side is, yes, it is important. You can be, fighting drugs and you can take pay home. You go home, your kids have not eaten, and somebody is running away for drugs and say, I can get you $250, and you worry about your children back home. I know $400 is not enough to avoid and prevent those type of occurrences, but we can start from there and gradually go up, whatever the case might be. So it's a good thing to say. Hopefully it can happen. But I think the entire approach to salary in government should not be restricted to the DEA. There should be a holistic approach to paying people good wages than just paying people living wage. We should take resources from in the gasolines. We should take resources from in buying cars 2 times in a year or 2 times every 2 years from the big officials. We should take resources from these sometimes unnecessary foreign travels that are not measured. You just send people abroad, pay them money to sleep in hotels where they don't sleep. As a matter of fact, they sleep with their friends and come back home and put the money in their pockets. We should take resources from those places and invest into the people so that they can deliver services for the country. It should be a holistic approach to salary reform rather than just talking about DEA that has less than 350 employees.
Let me agree. Honorable Jackson, let me come to you, though. For a very long time, I've always said this. I want a grading system when it comes to the pay structure in government. Let's say you got G1 all the way to G10, right? So it doesn't matter. I don't believe anybody should make more than 10 times what the average civil servant makes in this country. Let me repeat. I don't believe anybody who works in government, I don't care if you went to school in heaven, I don't care what experience you have, you should make more than 10 times what the average civil servant makes in this country. Honorable Jackson, how the pay disparity in this country affect the people on the lower end of the pay spectrum in this country? And how is that going to help the drug issue, all our civil servants and police officers and soldiers, etc.?
So the thing is about moral character. Moral character is an important part of the human resource management process, right? So if you building an institution and you choose people with good moral character and you pay them a living wage, I mean, you will see that by and large, okay, they will perform based upon their core values. That's just the way it is, okay? The whole idea of human resource reform, civil service reform, that has to be done within the construct of getting value for money, and also how do you create an efficient civil service system when you have 70,000 people on the payroll earning 66 to 70% of national of the expenditure within your budget? I don't think that's sustainable. And I don't think that will do well in reducing poverty by keeping 70,000 people on the payroll. One of the things you have to do is a holistic economic development. Holistic economic development means that creating opportunities in the private sector where you can begin to shift to create a lean and mean bureaucracy. But it would take some time because there are political consequences, as you know, if you going to harmonize. One of the things I heard the CDC government, as you and Asad may disagree with me, was either the narrative around the harmonization or the causative effects. How did people really fare after this harmonization? Although we said that more people benefited from the harmonization and saw an increase in pay, but the narrative accompanying the harmonization hurt us. It did hurt us. Now, should drug enforcement officers make $400 when people bring in $100 million worth of drugs in just one container? Will they be able to resist the temptation? And I mean, narco terrorists are very good in compromising people in the highest echelons of society, not just people who make $400. Because in order for you to compromise people making $400 an hour and go up the chain and get cases dismissed or overlooked, you have to pay higher ups within the system, right? And not just people making $400. So there must be a holistic approach. Number one, civil service reform. Remember when Madam Sirleaf came to power in 2006, she was right-sizing and downsizing. But because of the requirements of the political economy, you saw a budget increase from 80,000 in 2005, and it went up to $622 million in the apex of the Ellington Johnson Sirleaf administration. But you saw just before the left, nearly 65,000 workers on the public payroll.
Let's go to Asad Jackson. Asad Doe for a second. You're done, sir.
Yeah.
And Uncle Sam, I'm going to say this to you. Most of our everyday drug problem, not the $100 million worth of drugs that are coming to the country. I do understand your position, but our drug problem is that every day we smokers on the side of the road. I'm going to go to my brother, Mr. Doe here. Mr. Doe, the issue of pay equity in this country. Instead of having the deputy minister making all this money in a country where the average person lives on $600 per year, I personally believe 400 is small, but I know if we get into 400, it is at least a living wage. Police officers in the country better make $150. The average soldier makes around $250. Civil servant, I believe the average civil servant makes around $175. If you contrast that with a minister in government that makes close to $6,000-7,000 a month. If there was pay equity in Liberia, do you think it would be possible to pay the average person, especially civil servants and soldiers, $500 a month, a living wage?
Well, Eduardo, thank you. And I think this is very personal to me. Yes, I will agree to you flat out. But like I've said earlier on, people usually have opinions to their own political talking points, but the facts are always stumble. Eduardo, you are now coming into the area zone of the CDC-led government. Like I said, I don't like going there, but these troops keep coming up, and these troops will always come up. You mentioned something very important, and I started laughing. You said, let me look at it. You said you believe there should be a grading system in which no one makes more than 10 times of an average civil servant. And then I started remembering the harmonization of my big pop, Sam Jackson, came in. The current finance minister, I remember, referred to that process as redistribution of poverty. It was on some of those things for which the Liberian people voted. Let me give you a clear eyes-on experience example. The minister who was in my position was making about 6,000 take home, 5,700. In my position, I was making 3,000. But I guess no one understands that. My AA was making $550. The AA to one of my other ministers from Jeddah was making 1,200. And so harmonization came in to be fairness in a salary structure. That was criticized repeatedly by our most educated folks who said it was redistribution of poverty. We are right back to the same harmonization process. Yes, Dollar, I agree with you. No one should make so much way higher than another person. That's the reason why. If you have a bachelor's degree and you are the AA for an assistant minister here, and you have another person has a bachelor's degree and is also AA to another assistant minister, I believe their salary should be around the same thing.
I agree.
That was exactly what the harmonization process was. And that's the reason why I will tell you that before the harmonization, the average salary for civil servant was $43 take home. After the harmonization, the average salary for civil servant became $133 United States dollars. Today, the truth crushed to the ground will always rise.
Thank you, Dr. Francine. I'm going to come to you. Asking to raise a question here. Dr. Francine, I'm going to be direct. You have my last question. I have to run away. My security says I have to go. Let me say this to you. Can we get rid of corruption if we don't first settle the score on pay equity in this country?
No, we can't. We can't get rid of corruption if there's a problem with the pay structure. The first thing is that once people are not getting paid properly for the work that they do, they're gonna be corrupt. They're gonna accept and create situation for bribery. So I don't think we can get rid of corruption. But on the other hand, I was listening to former Mr. Isaac Doe speak about the harmonization plan. And the question that I have in my head, and this is the question that I think any government would deal with, the amount of money that you reorganized or you kept because of harmonization, where did the money go? Can we say the money can be commensurated to the kind of development that we saw in Liberia? That is my question. If you can say, okay, I'm going to cut somebody pay because I'm going to develop the country, then I can see reasoning with that. But I think the question that we all are asking here is, where did the money go? Was the money used for people to enrich themselves? Was it used for the development of the country? Because you cut people, you cut people's salary. Then what happened? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. That Regis, very brilliant question, I can tell you. And like I was saying earlier on the show, one big difference from our government than the government we took off from 2017 was that almost all monies being used to do things in the country came from the outside. During our time, we had about 4 to 5% of external resources. So most of the things we did came from our national resources. So let me tell you that already, before George Weah came in, no one was paying people's WAEC fees. That money you talk about went towards that. Before President Weah came in, people at UL were paying tuition. When President Weah got in, they stopped. That money went towards them.
So yes, and thank you for answering that question. Let's do a roundtable because so I don't have the facts with me. What you say, I can go and check. I can fact check you.
Please
okay, see. Okay, what you're saying that your budget went towards the building of Liberia, and Madam Sally's government money came from external sources, where your government your money came from internal sources. That's what you're trying to tell us here.
That's correct. That's correct.
Glendy, can you ask us? Do you think that the money that was saved from harmonization went to develop Liberia, as Isaac Jackson was saying, and did that money seem to commensurate from what your eyes can see now? Because we don't have any documentation to prove that.
Well, I don't know, and this is why sometimes when we bring up these discussions, we have to have facts to back it. So when you're saying you get into power and you decide that, the pay grade is hard, it's high, very high. And so you decide, let me do this to be able to take care of this problem. How is harmonization now equivalent to pay grade? So what that process was for, it wasn't for helping civil servants to increase their pay or to help their salary. It was used, the money was taken away from civil servants to cover other expenditures. That's what we're hearing. So we have to be able to have solid proof as to what, and that's how I go back and forth with Isaac, though, because he would throw stuff out there and then we leave it there without the backing for what he's saying. If you're saying what you're saying to us, okay, President, we have decided that we'll cut civil servants' money, not to pay them twice, or not to say, okay, we will have enough money to pay them, but we're taking the money now to go pay WAEC school fee or to pay for LU students. So why was there not another project? Why was there not another process in place to take care of those things that civil servants, their pay rate had to suffer to be able to do those other expenditures? And you can't compare. I mean, the economist is here. Mr. Jackson is here. I think he would be the one that will seal it up. Yes. I don't know how we're comparing harmonization to a pay grade, which are two different things. How are we equating it to the pay grade? How is that possible? So maybe Mr. Jackson.
I just want to, yes, and Mr. Jackson's going to come in, but I did hear you say, former Minister Isaac, that the money that was taken from harmonizing pay went to paying WAEC, went to paying tuition as LU. That's what I heard you say. That's what.
Well, that's before Mr. Samuel Johnson comes in. That's just 1/10 of what I wanted to say. And I know since Glendy asked the question, the harmonization process, Glendy, was not only to take civil service salary money. Like I said, before the harmonization process, the average take-home pay for civil servants was 43 United States dollars.
Okay.
After the harmonization, it went to $133. So that tells you it was mainly to bring some stability and equality into the pay grade.
Okay,
so some people went up, few persons came down, and some money. So it's just for me.
And we're going to go to Mr. Jackson. So two fronts here that you're saying. You said that it was meant to sort of decrease disparities in the payment. For example, like you mentioned, if one person shouldn't be making more money than the other. That's what. And then also the money that you're used to save, it went to paying Wyatt, and it went to paying tuition and stuff.
A lot of other things. Yeah, the park, it went to the roads, so a lot of things.
You feel that the money that was used from harmonization was beneficial to the country developmentally, like Isaac Jackson said, he wanted to pay for education, Wyatt fee specifically, and tuition at LU.
So I'll be very frank. The harmonization, the basis for the harmonization was a conditionality from the IMF.
Yes.
Where it was a conditionality from the IMF where the public sector wage bill went from $297 million or $287 million under the Unity Party government to $320 million. When the CDC came to power in 2018, there were a lot of pressure on them to absorb some of their partisans, just like the way it is now with the incoming boycott administration. So how do you shave off $25, $30 million from the public wage bill? You don't just go do a cookie cutter approach. So what you needed to do was to do a holistic approach, and the strategic objective had to be equal work for equal pay. So secretaries and drivers, some were making 1,000 and some were making 400, some were making 300. What you wanted to do is to harmonize all of those salaries so that terms of reference, work program, and all of that would be paid across the board. And I think they accomplished that. But what happened in the process, there were a certain and a significant number of civil servants who were making serious money, so their pay come down. And because their pay came down, there was the political consequence to the CDC government, and that was fueled by the narrative of the Unity Party that people were suffering because of the harmonization. And they did a very good job in making that narrative to stick that people lost money on a harmonization.
Thank you, Mr.
But if you look at the data, more people benefited in terms of increase in income than people lost income. But some very powerful civil servants lost income, and they had the bullhorn.
Okay,
they were
that's it. Thank you for educating us on the harmonization origins. Let's go to Amula. Amula, the question that I'm asking here is, people's salary were harmonized. It was decreased, and Mr. former Deputy Isaac Du is saying that they used the money to pay Wyatt fee and to pay LU students tuition, to make LU tuition free, because that was there was two purposes for the harmonization. One was to kind of bring everybody, decrease the disparity in pay, and also to give back to Liberia's development. What are your thoughts there? What do you think? Do you think they use the money for this?
So harmonization itself was a flop. There was never a bad idea to rationalize payroll across government. It is never a bad idea to rationalize pay across government. The motive for harmonization was not necessarily to harmonize pay across government, was to create a condition to accommodate partisans. Now, what caused the ineffectiveness of government was they were not just hiring partisans, qualified partisans. They were just hiring anybody and putting them in any position.
Okay.
For that reason, general effectiveness of the government, the efficiency of government declined, productivity dropped.
Correct. Good.
This whole theory about we use the money to pay YFE, we use the money for UL, it's a baseless claim. We have addressed that here before doing a campaign. We don't want to do a deja vu with it. You pay YFE once in the year of a child, 12 years, or let's just say 2 times now, and 12 with 2 years in a child's life. From now to 12th grade, 4 years, that child is using telephone. You increase taxes on the people. You don't know that? You forgot that you increase taxes on the people? The aggregate value of the tax you increase on the people just by canceling 3-day free call is 5 times more than the price for paying YFE. 5 times more. Just by canceling 3-day free call, you took 5 times more the money from those children and their parents compared to the $500 or $10 US you pay for YFE once in the child life or twice in the child life. So you increase taxes on the people. You did not use and proceeds from harmonization. And you got excess money from increasing taxes on the people that could pay YFE 10 times, but you only pay 1 time because only 1 time you pay YFE. So that's not a justification.
So, okay.
Justification.
Thank you, Mommy. We're going to move on to, another topic, and this topic will probably take us home, which is the appointments of the President Joseph Boakai. But I want to say something interesting that you said, Mommy, that sort of just got me thinking. When you talk about the unproductivity of the harmonization plan, you talked about how people were just hired. So if you have a government where people are not being productive, that impacts development in the country. So it's like you kind of just running in circles. That's kind of how I that's something I heard you say that I didn't even think about. Yes, we're hiring all these people in the government. We didn't look into the qualifications. Some we did. But if they are not productive, that means that work is not getting done. We are just paying people then to just not do any kind of productive work.
30 seconds. Just today from the MPA, just because new management took over, there's one musician in the town. He was on MPA payroll as a human resource consultant.
So, Dr. Regis, can you just give me 1 second, please?
1 second. One second, then we'll move on to our next topic.
So again, when it comes to financing thing, that's where some of us come from. So it can be a little funny if things are being said that are far from the truth. So I don't like to respond to panelists and things, but let me just say this. Taxes are levied on call, usually as per, meaning called to another phone. So if you called for 90 minutes, you will be paying more taxes than when you call for 45 minutes. So to say, 3 days call came left because of taxes increment, I think it is a sweet political talking point, but the reality from finance is not there. Because if you have 3 days of call, that's when the government benefits more, because each minute you call has a tax percentage levied on that minute. So it means more calls, it means more calls, more taxes, less call, less
making progress. Okay, we'll make progress. What you're saying require us to do a lot of fact checking. We don't have to.
Please do. Please do. Yeah.
We can't do that right now. But okay, let's move on. Today, I
beg you 30 seconds. Government doesn't pay taxes on businesses, doesn't pay taxes on call. They pay taxes on the income generated from calls. What are you talking about? More calls. So the 3-day free call, excuse me, wait for me. The 3-day free call.
That's true. You are saying the truth.
The 3-day free call.
I'm agreeing with you. That's right. That's
okay,
correct.
So what the 3-day free call day was, they said within 3 days, you pay $1 to make limited calls. It is on that $1 that government was taking taxes. When you cancel the 3-day free call, the number of call the person is making depends on the amount of money they put in their phone.
So the government was not making taxes from the $1.
Okay, let's leave it.
Let's not leave it. No, let's not leave it.
No, but another topic on discuss.
If you put $1 in your phone, that $1 becomes an asset for you. The only way that becomes an expense is when you are calling. So it is not because you put $1. So the government takes taxes on $1. The government takes taxes on what you've expended.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna
let's
understand
go
this
on,
process.
Okay.
Let's move on. We're gonna understand this process with the call. Okay, so today the president appointed. I'm reading here, February 5th. There's 4 persons he appointed in the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. He appointed Mr. Cy Johnny, Senior Economic Advisor. He made him. He appointed Mr. Charles A. Snatter, Ambassador at Large. He appointed Ambassador George Wallace, Advisor Foreign Affairs, and he appointed Mrs. Louise Tangba as Business Manager. So I'm going to start with you, Mommy. What are you thinking about this appointment? A lot of people have some concerns. I don't know if you have some concerns or you don't have some concerns. What's your position on these appointments?
The CACC main concern is, since there's no structure in place to verify the credential of these appointees, the only concern the CACC has is currently looking out for their credential to do evaluation. Okay. That's why it's happening now. Mm-hmm. The president, prior to his election inauguration, promised that he will have set up a vetting committee. I don't know whether that committee is set up, and part of the responsibility of that committee was to vet people's credentials, to make sure people don't come with fake credentials and survive because they are competent and experienced, even though they fake their credential, which speaks to credibility issues. So what we're doing is we just received the news of the nomination. We've passed it over to members of the team. They are reviewing the credential like they've done with other people. The challenge in this process is they are not accountable to any organization, even though we legally register and operating under the laws of Liberia. So they're not accountable to send their credentials to us or their resume. So in the event where somebody gives tip, then it makes it easier to conclude an investigation on the credential. If the person send their resume, like in the case of other people, say, okay, here's my resume, here's my degree, everything, go and check and be clear, it makes it faster. So those who are holding back and not giving, it takes longer time to get to logical conclusion. So we see the nomination. I mean, on the face value, we respect the president's decision. We think he did due diligence, but at our level, we'll dig deeper. I mean, to know where they're coming from, you know, their qualification, their experience, and how they contribute to the president's war of not doing business as usual.
Okay. So yes, well, let's welcome Fatima to the show. It's good. It's good to have you here, Fatima.
Thank you.
So, you know, as I sort of read briefly about these people that I mentioned to you, Mr. Sam Jackson, I'm coming to you. Cy Johnny worked in the government before. I'm reading here, he was in Ellen's government. Charles Snatter owned a radio station in Liberia. I couldn't really read quick enough to see if he worked in Ellen's government, but I know he'd been around President Parker for a while. I remember he was the one who took a lot of the pictures. That's what I remember. Mr. Wallace has also been in the government. He's a diplomat. From my notes that I have here, he was in Ellen's government as well. Miss Louise Tangba, I couldn't find her anywhere in terms of documentation records, but it says business manager of what? So what do you think, Mr. Jackson? We having people that are coming from Ellen's government is now back into the Buckeye's government, especially at the eve of people who were in the trenches with him are saying they're not getting appointments.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to make one comment about some of the things that were done with the savings from the harmonization. Okay. If you remember, doctors were making under $500 on the previous administration, and doctors were paid $2,000. Okay, and we also sent specialist doctors for training, and there were a lot of healthcare specialists that would absorb onto the payroll. So let's just be very clear about that. You know, like in the political economy, you can disagree with some actions of an outgoing president that, I mean, in order to maintain peace and stability for 6 years, you've had to be doing something right. But the Liberian people felt that they needed to get out. But to completely diminish some of their achievements is unfair. So just like, I mean, like Ellen has some achievements, but she also brought some institutions down, like the NOCAL and so on and so on. Okay. No.
But Mr. Jackson, and before you go on, I want to hold you there for a second. Our question is not that he did something to Liberia. He made his mark in Liberia. Our question is, did the money commensurate to the development that we saw? The president had $150 million in the budget for something he called PSIP, right? And I'm struggling to find documentations to see how, and tell me, I mean, Mr. Dwayne, I've had argument on the show before. How did he use that money? And did the money that he used to pay the doctors, did they come from the PSIP?
No. So the PSIP means the public sector investment. Yeah. Okay. So it means that if you look at the whole budget, you have revenues and you have expenditure, right?
Yeah.
So then the difference between the revenue and expenditure is what we call fiscal space. And that is the one that is used for public sector investments. That's what it is. That's the fiscal space. Okay. So if you look at the outturns, the budget outturns, you will see, for example, how monies were spent in certain public sector investments, health, education, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, that's another debate for another day, because I mean, you said two things here. One, you tell me say the president spent the PSIP on health, but then you also spend harmonization on paying the doctors as well, which is health to me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but okay, so then you have operational expenses in health, right? Which is when you pay people salaries and you do things like crash cars and gasoline and stuff. Those are operational expenses. So public sector investment would be like a capital expenditure, brick and mortar, something that will last more than a year. That's what a capital expenditure is. That's what a public sector investment is.
To see that we are government use the PSIP or use harmonization for, building a new hospital, not the people from Middle East came and built our new hospital in Popolu. We have those kind of documentations, and that's what I'm asking for. I'm just saying, I just want facts to be checked. That's all. And if we have those records, that's fine.
Okay, so if you're building a hospital, and if you pay a contractor, delivery cost, that is amortized, that is put into capital expenditure. Just like when I'm building my house, the cost of labor on building my house.
That's not
it's a capital cost.
That's exactly where I'm coming from.
But you asked me a question about boycott. So let me just go to that.
Yeah, let's go to that.
Okay. So I've been in the political economy since I was a young man, since 1978, late 78, early 79. And I know when governments come in, and I know the pressures on them to hire their friends, to hire their people in their cliques and all of that. And I mean, these appointments clearly, if you look at just Tamba, I think Sajoni, that's Kisi. And the other woman, Tamba, that's Kisi, right? So, and then also I look at Charles Neto, a good friend of mine, older than I am, and Ambassador, what's his name?
George
Wallace. Good and decent people. George Wallace. One of the problems we have in Liberia, Dr. Richardson, is that a lot of these people are not like me, who had like 20 plus years working experience in the United States and get good income and Social Security and get disability from the military. So they're not like me. So I don't want to say why you, but it is an effort to help some of their friends. I mean, let's just be very clear about that, because Liberia does not have social protection. There's no social protection. So a significant amount of the public sector investment, public sector wage bill is to put people on the payroll to give them some sort of income for social cohesion, social stability. And all governments do that. In the United States, they have something called pork barrel projects, okay? Building a bridge to nowhere in the United States and putting people like they have street money that they use for social protection. But Liberia, because it's a poor country, it's a low-income country, it is difficult for the budget to absorb that without inducing a degree of poverty within the political economy. But I mean, hiring Charles Snyder, who is his photographer, as ambassador at large, hiring my very good friend and my mentor, Mr. George Wallace, I mean, way beyond 80 years old. This is just to help people. And I don't have an issue with that. Trust me. Because I know Liberia. I'm a Liberian boy. I'm from Swaniwe, okay? During the Tubman administration, they had these public relations officers, the PROs, right? And people within my family were paid by Tubman because it was a form of social protection because there was no income. It's a poor country. So Boycott does that, but the issue I have is then don't come and tell us that you're bringing in a rescue train when you were doing the same old business as usual. Because if you want to do something different, it shouldn't be business as usual. You shouldn't be hiring your friends and cronies and giving them social protection as all governments do. And then you rail against that during the campaign. But you're hiring Charles Snyder. You're having Ambassador Wallace. You're hiring somebody named Tamba. You're having somebody named Saul. So look, I don't have an issue with none of those things because not everybody is lucky like me who spend most of his years working outside and have a retirement income that I can live on. Those people don't have retirement income. We should reach out to them and help them and absorb them within the political economy for the sake of peace. That's just the way it is.
Thank you.
I have no issue with that.
Glendy, the president today appointed Sir Johnny. So Johnny was in the government before. It's my understanding he was in Ellen's government. He appointed Charles Snyder, ambassador at large. He appointed George Wallace, advisor of foreign affairs, and Mrs. Louise Tamba. Many people are complaining that he is been practicing nepotism. He's appointed based on friendship. He's appointing, as just now Mr. Jackson said, social protection plan. That's his cronies. What do you think? What's going on over here? How can we tease this out?
So I think all of us will respond to every situation subjectively, based on how we feel,
absolutely,
based on what nerves it hits, and based on how we feel. If my memory serves me right, I don't think Sir Johnny has worked in the government before.
He did.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. But I think Sir Johnny was some.
He worked in Ellen's government. He worked for the UN, and he formed part of GNB movement, New England chapter. If that's the right side, Johnny, I'm talking about.
It's possible. It's possible, yeah. But I mean, in any government, you will see that people will hire people that they know. Immediately coming off of the WEA government, we saw that any government, people, even Ellen government, I'm sure there were people that she hired that were close friends and relatives to her. I had to point to my own brother, Big Sam Jackson, but he also got contract because he knew Sam, he knew Samuel Twe. So, I mean, every government is going to do that. What we want to make sure of is these people, because if it's a government of inclusiveness, there will be several different people being appointed. We want to make sure that these people have the prerequisite qualification for the position. Now, nepotism is a bit high. It's something that no one wants to see happen. And we also have to ensure and ask and hope that the president is being cautious, because we talked about it a little bit yesterday when you're looking at the number of people that's currently in the government from Lofa County. So those are things that he has to be very careful about. I don't want to, when the press secretary comes to us and say that every information we get out there that is published will be on the official pages, then I'm going to hold her accountable for that. I've checked every single page, and I have not seen these appointments. So was it a slip? And I haven't seen it on the e-mansion page on Facebook. I haven't seen it on the website, unless they posted it now, but I just checked before. My response is not there. So what are we to follow? We who want everything done by the book, what are we to follow to say that these names are correct and they were appointed? I don't know any. I know Mr. Snyder, of course. Everybody knows Charles Snyder. I know him. You can't take that from him. He's very close to JNB. And sometimes, like people were saying, I mean, the other day we were talking about people who have worked on the campaign. Some of them have not been hired yet. So you will see that periodically, but I don't have any qualms with people the people the president feels comfortable with to employ. Like, for example, that business manager is his personal office manager. It's like a controller to the president, because the president, I learned, has a budget. And that's what her job is as business manager to be. She's like a controller directly to the president of Liberia to be able to check on the money that he's given, the budget that he has, and how that is used. If that's correct. So I don't have any issues.
Yeah, I don't know, Glendy, about the business. There was no. I don't know if this is a new position or if this is a existing position, but thanks for at least letting us know.
Yeah, I think it's like a controller of somebody, because he has a budget. I think it's 250,000, I believe, or something.
Yeah.
Whatever budget was in the budget for George Weah, I think that's what that position. Some people were saying that's somebody like almost similar to Finna, but I don't think it is, because Finna was protocol officer. So I think a business manager is like a controller in the office of the president.
Yes, and let me just correct something. I see on the news on the feed here, people are saying that Side Johnny didn't work in the government, like you said. But maybe there's another Side Johnny who they said was, I'm reading right here, that has some connection, I think, with GSA and also worked in Ellen's government. So maybe there's two different Side Johnnies we're talking about. But the point is well taken. I was just reading around a little bit. So I guess Mr. Dole left us. I was going to go to him and then come to Fatima. Fatima, welcome to the show. We're just talking about the president's appointees that he's making, the appointments that he's making. What do you think? I mean, a lot of people are complaining like he's bringing in people like George Wallace. He's bringing in people like Charles Snyder, where some of those guys were in the trenches with him, which is kind of what we've been talking about. For the past couple of days as well. They're not appointing them. Maybe that will come. So what do you think?
Well, I think when a government is formed, most of the time, most people are not happy in the beginning. And as time goes on and the dust starts to settle, people tend to get into the rightful positions. We look at this presidency, this rescue mission, as a young and progressive mission, so I trust the judgment of the president, and I hope, my real hope is that the foot soldiers, those that were in the field, like the Mo Alis of the world, the Patrick Honas, and those who were really foot soldiers will get employment, because the youths are looking up to them. Charles Snyder and what's the name of the other person you mentioned, Dr. Richardson?
George Wallace.
I think George Wallace. I know him from
Johnny.
Yeah,
Johnny.
Most of those people, those positions will be served. I think most of them would be like the president will put people that he's comfortable with, people that he trusts, and so I'm hoping that that's the case, but. We're still watching and we're looking, Dr. Richardson. This is not actually the change that most of us were looking for. We're looking for progressives, young people to run the affairs of the country. My hope is that the president will act and he will put those people in places that, they will serve their nation with distinction. So we're still watching, Dr. Richardson.
Thank you. So I'm getting a text here that Sir Johnny actually worked in the United States here. I do remember reading something that he was part of the JNB movement and formed the New England chapter. And somebody's confirming here he worked with the federal government. So do you think that he's going now to work as an economic advisor to, I don't know what was his position in the federal government, economic advisor to JNB? That's what it says in the appointment. He's going to be an economic advisor. Do you think? Yes, go ahead.
Just a quick point. I think Sir Johnny is also a CPA, so he could be a consultant for other businesses in Liberia. He could do audits. He could do so many other things. He's a CPA, so.
Yeah, so to me, Danny, sometimes these titles does not mean that you can do the job, but you're right, he can do so many other things. I often like to look at people's history record. I don't like to make a mistake and say, oh, just because somebody did this, I mean, they can do CPA, so maybe they can be doing tax work in the United States, but we're talking about an economic advisor being able to do projections on the country predictions, look at the kind of markets that we have in the country, the invisible hands that we have in the country. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. So,
Dr. Richardson, I just wanted to add one quick point. When I heard about advisors for the likes of what's his name? It's just his name just slipped out of my mind. I was thinking, I said that was appropriate because yes. I was thinking that those appointments were appropriate because we're actually looking for the older population to advise the president, to be his counsel, while the young progressives work hard and push the agenda of the country forward. So, we were pleased with those ones. We're just looking forward that most of the foot soldiers be placed in positions so that this country can move forward, so that we can pick up the people's affairs in the people's country and start the running of the country. So we're waiting to see. We're patient and we're encouraging everyone to be patient.
Let me just say something, because if my memory serves me, I'm not looking back. I think the last appointment that was posted, President Parker already has an economic advisor, which leads me to say that this list is not an official list. I think there's a Kamara Mole Kamara is his economic advisor. So now this is a second one, a senior economic advisor. That's why it is important for when there's a list out there for the press secretary to come out and say, this is official, I'm confirming this is, because this list is all over. But the last appointment made was Mole Kamara, and it said that he was an economic. I'm not on the page, but I believe that there was a Mole Kamara appointed as economic advisor. Now this would be a second one, if this list is correct.
Senior economic advisor. So I don't know if this, but you're right. Yeah. We need to know.
Yeah, they need to correct so that we know and not spread the list around, and if it's not official.
Yes, you're right about that. Mr. Jackson, I know you sort of had a lot to say about the appointments. You said, the president is appointing his friends, his cronies. It relates to nepotism. Oh, never mind. I didn't go to mommy on this. Can I go to mommy on this first and then come back to you? Mommy, Mr. Jackson talk about, the president's appointing his friends, his cronies, his social protection movement, sort of like what Tobo had, the PRO. And both Glendy and Fatima, they kind of seem to be okay with the list. They trust that the president is making the best decision, even though Fatima wants younger participation. And Glendy is saying that it's the president's friends. She believes that Mr. Sir Johnny is a CPA, so means he qualifies for the job, which I'm also looking at is Mr. Charles Snyder. He's ambassador at large. We don't know where he's gonna be stationed or what he's gonna be at. That job is like really a cash out job for me. Mr. Wallace is an ambassador, so he's an advisor for foreign affairs. So they say he's a long-term diplomat. And Louis Tamba actually is a business manager. So what do you think?
I mean, I would not use Uncle Sam's word, right, to say appointing a friend because you want to pay them. But he's not far from how I see government being run before. That Regency and people listening to us, we have not made a significant depart from the past that continue to hold the country down. I can understand in politics, in the political economy of transformation, there are some things you have to, quote unquote, compromise. But there are certain areas you have to be stringent. One of those places is giving jobs to people.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened over time is every administration comes to power, so much worry about re-election. So it's like so much worry about re-election, fearing that people will shake the boat, and they don't make informed decisions that provide long-term benefit to the country, that in the long term benefit everybody. They make decisions just for the immediate results. They'll hire a lot of people in government to create jobs. I can understand, but you have to strike a balance. If you don't strike a balance, you just hire everybody. They put pressure on the wage bill. They put pressure on the government. They make the government ineffective and inefficient. And the government cannot create the condition for private sector growth to provide more employment for more people until the next election comes. The next election comes, they go to election, another person wins. The person is afraid to take radical, informed decisions. They bring more people in government. Most times, incompetent, inexperienced people put them in decision-making positions. Because of that, government gets ineffective. Government gets inefficient, and because of the ineffectiveness and inefficiency of government, private sector cannot expand, jobs cannot be created, the economy cannot expand. You struggle with the government going back and forth until you go to the next election. So we just been in our cycle and cycle and cycle. And we see similar thing trying to happen. It will be too early for me to say that we're going to the past. Because the president has not presented his own budget to the legislature. So we wait to see that. The president has not, and those are some of the things to even set business for worrying. The president has not made any statement. The government has not made any statement on public sector workforce, wage bill. No statement. Nobody knew, everybody in doubt what will happen. But the point I'm sending through is what Uncle Sam said has been the historical trend in our country. People do not want to make those decisions because they're afraid they will not get re-elected. So for that reason, we're just in a visual cycle of employing and burdening the public sector, and the public sector cannot function. No jobs created in the private sector. The public sector is overburdened, years in, years out. Government cannot create jobs, and government cannot provide all the jobs. That's what we've been seeing happening.
Absolutely. Is there anybody on the list that we just mentioned that you are concerned about, Mommy? Before we go out, the same question I'm going to ask to Fatima, Lindy, and then Mr. Jackson. Anybody?
We're concerned about everything. As a matter of fact, folks are currently checking on, trying to reach out to people to see whether they can get their credentials to look at it. And we're doing that just in line with what the president said. Even though we're not seeing any structure, but he said it will not be business as usual. We'll vet people to make sure they don't just come with experience, but they don't fake their credential. Because when you fake your credential, that credibility issues. So we're checking on everybody.
But Mr. Wallace, and maybe Mr. Jackson can attest to that, Mr. Wallace and who else? They've been in the diplomatic service, you know. So we'll think that they fit the bill, right? Mr. Wallace and well, I don't. And Mr. Wallace actually has been a long time foreign.
Yeah, Mr. Snatter, I think.
Mr. Snatter too. Okay.
Mr. Snatter is been a journalist with his own radio station. Yeah, Radio Monrovia. But can I just say something quickly,
yes.
Dr. Richardson?
Yes, please do.
You know, when I mean, believe me or not, I was excited about the rescue train and all of the narrative that accompanied the rescue train, you know, and I was happy. Maybe it's a new day coming, you know, and maybe all of the things that I've dreamed about since my boyhood, coming to Liberia and see Liberian economic empowerment. I would see a government based upon a competitive environment where we use our CV, our credentials, and we use our experience, and we will go invite investors to the country. They will come and they will see that Liberia has improved in the business environment and all of those things. I mean, I was hoping, because I would be a prime beneficiary, because I don't know any crooks. Okay, I know only people like big people, investment banking in the States here, who are not going to come to a country unless they meet certain integrity thresholds. Liberia has a sovereign credit rating. Liberia has people of, an A-list cabinet and all of that, okay? And that's what I was hoping for, And like the first 6 years of the Elling administration, I made a crap load of money, okay? Because there are Anthony Saye, you had Dr. Eugene Shanna, you had Richard Tubber from UBS, you had all these people, Dr. Chris Toll from Australia. And and the first 6 years were like really good years, because UNDP, USAID, and other international people that came in, and I was making money in terms of as a consultant. So this new government that came in January 22nd, 2023, with all of the mishaps that I'm saying, and I'm getting on good authority that Joseph Boyka is related to Sir Johnny and related to Louis Tamba. When he goes to Rhode Island, he stays at Sir Johnny's house. Sir Johnny is a CPA retiree from the Securities and Exchange Commission. He's not an economist. Charles Snyder, good friend of mine, Radio Monrovia, he's been a picture taker and a sort of a media personnel for Joe Boyka. And let's go with the age again. Charles is much older than I am, by 74, 75. Ambassador George Wallace in his 80s. Yes. And I know Glenn would say this thing is ageism, but a rescue train need good young conductors. A rescue train need young trained personnel. But if you start bringing in people who, way past retirement, when are they going to be with their grandchildren and play with and give them popsicles and stuff? What they're going to be getting up and working 10 hours a day? And they just want to go to work, come home and just lay down one day.
Mr. Jackson, so your point is well taken in terms of your concerns about whether it's nepotism that the president is practicing, but I don't want to go into when are they going to play with their grandchildren. And
what I'm saying is that people should have a cutoff date. People should have a cutoff date for government. There should be a cutoff date. Definitely should be a cutoff date. You don't want somebody working in the government and the president take you from there and take you to the funeral home. When are you ever going to sit down and say, I'm retired? Okay?
I understand. I understand.
Uncle Sam, I just wanted to make one quick assertion, please. I think it's an interjection. You say you don't know any crooks, but you knew some as well, though.
Well, sir, there has been no indictment of Mr. Samuel Twere in any court of competent jurisdiction.
Oh, but he was sanctioned.
Okay. And the U.S. sanctions a visa restriction. And
Fatima,
that's what I'm saying. So until he's proven to be a crook in a court of competent jurisdiction, you can make that assertion.
No, I was just saying you may have mentioned that you don't know any crooks or anybody, but Samuel Twere was sanctioned. Yeah.
Let's go to your thoughts about this list. The list of Sir Johnny.
Yeah, I think he's right. Uncle Sam is right about certain things. I think
what is Uncle Sam right?
There should be a retirement age. That's something that he said, which is true. In America, the retirement age is 65.
Correct.
Sometimes we do retire earlier. We take an early retirement. If you work for the government and you want to take an early retirement, you could take it at 60. Okay, so so that's my plan. 60. I wasn't going to go to 65, but I think that he's right about. But I think these people are serving in advisor positions and stuff like that. Maybe the president needs someone to talk to or to advise them. I'm just saying, like, I agree with Uncle Sam to a certain extent. I think that the young people, the young progressives should serve this nation. They're able to, they are qualified, they're educated. And
do you have any concern that, and I don't know if this is a fact, that what Mr. Jackson is saying, Sir Johnny is related to the president, Louis Tamba is related to the president. Do you have any concerns about those type of appointments?
I am, because that shows nepotism, but I'm not sure if they are related. I've not seen anything. I've just heard from Uncle Sam here that it is. So we have to verify that. But if they are, that is nepotism.
No, a quick 30 seconds. Nepotism is divine in our laws. So we just want to be sure that we describe it in the context of the law, what the law defines nepotism to be.
What is nepotism to be?
But let me tell you what it said. Okay, let me just say. Okay.
Let Amula just speak for a minute, and then I will jump back to the calls.
Amula, what does it say in the law?
Johnny,
he's saying something. No, so I can check what the law says, what the law defines nepotism to be, but my understanding is appointing your children, wife. They got a definition. I think it's around immediate family.
It's immediate family. It's not.
Yes. So not because maybe my uncle, brother, friend married to that originating daughter and a president, so I can get her job. I mean,
and if she's qualified, if she meets criteria,
exactly. So we just define what nepotism is, and then judge the president's appointment based on that definition of nepotism.
Also, people serve at the will and pleasure.
Mr. Jackson, can we go?
I know, but the fact that they oversee ethnicity,
can we let Fatima finish first?
I was also saying, these people will serve at the will and pleasure of the president. And like Mommy said, if the person is, like a distant relative of the president, but if the person is qualified and competent, and have the experience, I think the person should be able to serve. I think the person should be able to serve. I think going out the days where people can retire, if you are someone who needs to retire, you retire. Advise us for the president. If he's comfortable with someone, I agree with the president. I actually believe in the president's judgment. I know him to be a man of faith, a man who has good judgment, good character. So I'm just hoping that everyone will have equal place on the table if they are competent.
Let me go to former Deputy Director Isaac Do, and then we'll go to Glendy. And then we'll start doing our closing. You can't hear you. We can't hear you, former Mr. Do.
You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. I know you guys were discussing other things before we went off here. Let me just first, before I go to Abe, want to send out this just a kind of a beg, just pleading with my sister Bendu. Bendu, you usually use some words.
I just you mean Glendy or
no,
Fatima?
Bendu. Fatima. I just wanted to plead with
her. Call Fatima.
It's not D-U, it's T-U, Bintu.
Okay, Bintu.
Two. Not do.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to play with you. Usually you use some words that I think you need to modify a little bit. Yesterday you referred to all seditious as clowns. Today you are referring to former Minister Samuel Twe as crooks. I think we can use those words too. We can use even more than those words. But for the sake of our discourse, I just want to beg you. Let's try to modify. Even when you are angry, let's try to.
I'm never angry. I know that you're a girl beater, but I've never referred to you as a woman beater before. I've never done that. So what are you talking about?
And that's another attack on my person.
No, I'm not. It is true that you've beaten a girl before. No, I've never said that.
Can we make progress, please?
It is not true. It is very wrong. It is not true. It is a lie, a big black lie. But again, I just want to beg you to modify the way you refer to people.
Okay.
I think it's not fair. So let me go to the issue. Before I left, since we were registering, I know we had this conversation before. You were talking about the PSRP, that what they deal with a president. We had that money. I just wanted to quickly chip into that and say, the PSRP, Public Sector Investment Plan, is not a budget line that is expendable. It is a sum total of other budget lines.
Discretion of the president.
No, it is not it. No,
okay.
It is
It's not discretionary.
It's not discretion. It is a sum total of other budget lines that fits into investing into public space. So, say for instance, the roads, the money that goes toward roads, the money that goes towards paying, building schools, hospital, all of those, they put it together to put it on there. That's just it. And then I wanted to go on the.
So how did they select which one of them were the president's project or the PSIP? How did they select which projects to put under the PSIP?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There are classes of operations within the budget, in the national budget. They got,
so it was the president whose discretion was it to select putting poles, street lights up? Because I knew that was one of his things, putting street lights, poles up. When he went into, I think it was either one of those Maryland County, he said you're going to build housing or whatever. Okay, whose discretion was it?
Those are government.
And under the PSIP, they had that he was going to do county tours. I'm just saying, I read about this. And
those are governments. Also, now it is the president's, right? Okay, it is the president's, right? But when it comes to the PAC, it's not the president, it's government money. But anyway, let's move on. On the issue of the appointments today.
I'm just asking a question. I'm very objective as I can.
It is not the president, it is government's priority. They are only being placed under there to show a certain classes of expenditure from the budget. But it is not a line itself where expenditure comes from. It is a sum total of other budget lines. That's what I meant to say.
Okay,
but let me go on the appointments. Let me
check. I like you on the phone. You keep me busy. I gotta tell you that.
Okay, let me go on the appointments.
The PSIP is a sum total of other things that other projects
put together. Yeah, to come on that. So let me go to the appointments today. For me, I just want to plead, beg our people. We understand United Party is the most educated party, so prepared to lead and everything. But we first want to beg them for the president not to be signing press releases. First, we want to beg them for that. Let the president not be signing press releases that go around. And then the second thing is, I see business manager. We've been discussing this and been a little confused. Now, one here, we are discussing higher budget percentage going towards civil servant salary, but we are still adding more positions. It's kind of like, where do we stand? So the business manager.
She may be the controller. Maybe is there a controller position that is open? That's what maybe they just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it a creation of a new one added? But it's just a business manager. I don't, I'm not sure. We've been checking to see if it was there before. No, so
I think it was there during Ellen time, I believe. And I think
during Charles Taylor time, la Kadiatu position.
I think they got rid of that position.
Yeah,
all right. Maybe we didn't go position. Back. Yeah, we didn't go back. So it's brought back now. Although we have more money for
your point is well taken to answer to your point is well taken. If we complain that the civil servant budget is too loud, too high, then we shouldn't be creating more positions. That's kind of what you're saying, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Denny, your thoughts. What do you think?
I think I already said what I think is I don't want to I just want to make sure that if there's
a concern of anybody on
I don't
think everybody
I don't have any
positions.
I don't have any concern except of all of the sentiments that people have expressed. And also, thank you, Mr. Jackson, for reminding me, if that position was something that was gotten rid of before the business manager, because I remember it from either Ellen or Charles Taylor, that was something that they let go of. Well, it would be interesting to know why has he brought it back this time? What is the need for it? Why is it necessary? Those are the questions that I'm going to have because it wasn't there for Weah. And if it wasn't there for Ellen, why is he coming back now after several years? Why does he feel the need to have that position?
Okay.
That would be my only question.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Why are they bringing it back now? Especially if we're talking about the bill being so, the bill for workers in the government being so large. So let's move on to our closing. And before we do that, somebody just sent me the definition of nepotism. And then again, I understand what you're saying also, Mami, the legal definition, which we'll do our due diligence to find it in the Liberian law. power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates.
Relative, say nephew or cousin or sister.
That originally, I get what the law says. Let me read it.
Okay, what the law says?
The Labrador law.
Yeah, Labrador law says.
Deportation when a public.
Mr. Minister, please let us hear.
When a public official appoints, employs, public official, not necessarily not only the president. When a public official appoints, employs, promotes, or recommends for advancement family members in any agency or government or branch of government, then it goes down to define what family member is.
Okay, what family member is?
Family member. Family member means spouse, biological or adopted children, parents, siblings, and member of the household of the public official of government who depend on them for livelihood. So your wife, your children, and people who depend on you for livelihood in your household are what they consider family member. So if somebody is living in America as an accountant and worked before, they don't qualify under nepotism. But the concern about nepotism in government is a genuine concern. I only wanted us to just create the limit around what we consider nepotism as we make the case to prevent nepotism, because we all know the negative consequences of having children, spouses, and family members as defined by this law in key position, how it can have effect on governance and effect on the ordinary people. But I just wanted to create that boundary so everybody cannot be considered as family under the definition of nepotism.
Yes. But on the same time, though, on the same token, and we're going to go. I want to ask this last question. I'm going to include. Would any one of you be concerned of someone who is supposedly like a sister or brother or a sibling of the president, somebody who the president stops with when he's traveled, somebody who the president sleeps in their house when he travels? Would you be concerned if that person is in government? Lindy?
So this is the thing, is almost like it will bring us back to the singing. Yes, it would be concerning, but if the person is qualified for the position, I mean, it brings us back to the same thing. It could also be hiring everybody from Lofa County. It will be the same category. So if people from Lofa County, if there's some people from Lofa and they're qualified, should he not hire them? I think it goes to how many, it goes to the direct extent. But I think also it can be concerning, but if he feels comfortable, because these are positions that these people will be working directly with him. So those are people that he may be comfortable with. And so unless we have, for me, I wouldn't be concerned if the person is in all fairness, if the person is qualified and if that's someone who he's comfortable with, and if it's not nepotism, I wouldn't be concerned about that.
So I'm going to go to Fatima. So and I want you to look at comfortable working with that person. When someone is comfortable working with another person, do you think their feedback to that person can be objective, especially when we look at the interest of our government? Do you think that if like I know you, Fatima, you and I have served on this show here. Do you think I'll be able to be objective to you, like tell you what needs to be done? Or do you think if you did something wrong, Fatima, I'll be able to, if we're very close now, of course we work on the show, we have not met each other yet, but I'll be able to tell you those things, that how I feel about what you're doing?
I think to an extent, if we're very close, maybe you will have some reservations and you will pull me to the side, you know, be constructively done. I think there will be some reservations, you know? So, yeah, I think there will be.
You see any conflict of interest, any ethical concerns?
There will be. Of course, there will be some ethical concerns, because if the person is like a close family member, sometimes you will tend to overlook some things. You will sweep it under the rug because of the family relationship. You know, some things will tend to be covered. Like, you know, she's my family. We can we can lay back and we can do that. But if the person was not, I think it will be a different situation. That's why most times I think within the social work field, those situations are separated. You cannot work with your family members.
Correct.
I'll tell you straight up. Like, I'm a therapist. I cannot do therapy with any family members, and I'm getting paid for. The agency knows that the person is my family. They will separate me from that person because of those reasons.
Yes, but can you do you think? Let's ask Mr. Do, and then we'll go to Mommy. Do you think the reason why in America, Fatima just told us the reason why she can't work with her family because it might skew her judgment, because she might overlook some things that her family member might do. Do you think that should be a good reason why we shouldn't hire people who are family members, especially close family? I'm not talking about distant cousin, like I never seen, like, you know, let's imagine Fatima, my cousin, I've never seen her before. But I'm talking about people who I stay in your house, I eat with you, you like my child or my nephew's son.
Well, you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Well, a lot of reasons. I know in 2024 we are defending what nepotism is, but 2023, 2022 we weren't defining it anyways. We're just putting it out there.
You're just even talking about day 2023 business. You're not allowed to go forward.
Which thing? And I see question you asked me.
Go ahead.
But again, it raises a lot of concern. One, it is very possible you will be treating a certain person very differently because of the connection with you, and especially when it comes to the issue of productivity. It is, you know, we are humans. There are certain things, no matter how you try, you can get past. You know, if you are looking at this person who is my mother, sister, brother, oh, my may do this, I mean, do this to you. You know, that feeling comes through. That's the reason why, you know, the law wanted to ensure that the fairness there, and not just bringing someone and, you know, the person is my man, sister, son, my cousin, this. Some kind of feelings may not be there, and they kind of try to discourage that. I would think it's a concern, and they should be concerning to everyone, and not just this of defining it. Oh, the person is a distant relative. It is a relative. There will be some kind of feelings towards that person, no matter what, that you may not carry it around with the rest of the people.
Yes, Mommy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. I think we should move forward. I agree.
Okay, let's move forward then. All right, let's move forward to our closing because I want us to get out here at 7 o'clock exactly. So we can move forward to just starting to do our closing. So we'll start with you, Mr. Jackson. Uncle Sam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, okay, so
I used to call you Uncle Sam because
Molly,
I call you that. I was tattoo. So please don't forget.
I like it, man. Call me Uncle Sam any day.
Okay.
So Mame, Glendy, Bintu, equal, Musu equal. Okay, so Betana Bangejai, okay? So it is
you say he's speaking for
when Joe Boyka names 2 economic advisors from Lofa County, Mole Koso Kamara, or what the other name that he used, okay, as senior economic advisor, and then he uses this Sajoni as economic advisor and Luis Tamba as business manager, right? And there's a list that's been going around where there are over 25 people coming from Lofa. It may be harmless. It may be harmless. I'm not prepared to put it in the same category of ethnicity, of ethnocentricity, where he's hiring people from his county, right? But he should be very careful, because if that narrative sticks, and I know Joe Boyka, he's a decent human being, okay? He won't hurt time, and I know about his integrity, his moral character, Effort Baptist Church, and all of those things. I worked with him when I was a young man, when I was deputy minister, and he was LPMC manager. I didn't see any trace of corruption in him. And I was married in his family, very, very nice guy, right? But he needs to be very careful. When you start hearing names like Tamba and Sa and Kamara, Bandis and Kisis, overwhelmingly coming up and reflected in his inner circle within the governance space, and then like 14 days after the election, when the foot soldiers, the people who were in the muddy gutters, like the Mo Alis, like the Stephen Johnson, like the Miapeko Gono, like the Mandela Cooper, Bintu Salif, and others. If you can make 6, 7, 8 lists, and you cannot prioritize the appointment of these young stars, and they're all highly educated people. Everyone who named a call has a master's degree and has some professional experience. So keep them hanging like that. And you are prioritizing people like your in-laws, members of your family, your cronies, and your crowd of boys them from Charlie King time, and you bring them into governance. It could be problematic because it could stir up a hornet's nest where there could be revolt, within the party. And once there's revolt within the party, it is very difficult to manage that revolt and run a country at the same time, and it will bring in some degree of schism that would undermine the effectiveness of the government. So he needs to be mindful of that. That's the only advice I have for him.
Thank you. I'm just going to read this. Amar Kone wrote this maybe a day ago, so I don't think they included the recent appointments. He said President Joseph Boakai has appointed 15 ministers to head ministries, including 2 ministers of state without portfolio. Lofa has 5, constituting 29.4%. Bon Kante has 4, 23.5%. Basa, Bomi, and Nima have 2 each, 35% of the population of the counties, while Cape Mount and Sano only have 11.7%. So, Glennie, I'm back to you. Any advice you would give the president in terms of his appointees, his appointments moving forward?
I think we talked about that yesterday a little bit, and I said sometimes we why is I respect and Amar Kone and all the work that he does. People are almost getting at the point where they think the government is proceeding very slow, and they're wasting time, and they should have appointed a lot more people by now. But I think it's also important, like I said yesterday, they need to be able to watch that, because that also, Prince Johnson is also talking. Several other people are talking on the different numbers and the Lofa factor. It is almost like people are now talking about Lofa factor like a common thing. Even in social media land, everybody is saying, oh, if you're not from Lofa, you will not get job. Oh, this one will be routine. I woke up this morning with several things in my inbox. These other people will be routine because they're from Lofa. So you don't want that narrative in the public. Why is there qualified people in Lofa County? They're not the only people to be able to be appointed to government jobs. So that's something he wants to watch, because prior to his election, people were saying that he was tribalistic. So you don't want to come now and these things are happening. You want to be fair. You want to be balanced. You want to be the one that controls the narrative about jobs and job appointments here. I also think that they're moving too slow, but I'm not overly anxious because we want to see if they reach the 30 days and still nothing, then we'll start talking, and then we'll start questioning them, because these are things that you should have already had prepared as a government. Whether you are going to win or not, you should have had a list of your top priorities, as in making sure that day 1, day 2, you would have had all of your ministers as it relates to, like, minister of the different ministries, the head leaders. You would have had them, and to reach, we're going into the end of the second week today, makes it 2 weeks, and we're still struggling with the list. So it's concerning, but I'm not overly alarmed by that yet because we'll see. If you got 7 already from Lofakan, then we'll see what you doing with Nima, because Nima is saying there's only 1 or 1.5. So he has to be able to look at those things. Then you're gonna, of course, Bapalu will talk because they have people too who are competent. So when you're coming and winning an election after such a divisive time, you want to make sure that you include everybody, including people that are in the opposition to your government, which includes CDC and other people from ANC and other places. You got to be all inclusive somehow. Can't just be Nima and Lofa people. So anybody.
I want to give you the opportunity to close as well, because
it was a good show today. We will be looking to see. I know today we spent almost all the time on Sarah Basslow, and didn't give any time to Luis Maple Poto. I think it's important. I don't know what the discussion is tomorrow, to also look at her, because she will be going to a ministry that oversees. The health minister is the chairperson for the board on JFK. JFK is a concern of mine because that's the nation's government hospital. And so I'm seriously, deeply concerned with them, because we don't want them to continue to have somebody at JFK who's been there for 18 years and has done nothing. Wow. So those things we need to look at. I think we really need to start looking at the health sector and look at, I know Sarah thing may have been a polluted thing because everybody was concerned, everybody was looking at it. But you want to also look at Luis, who's going to be the Minister of Health. And whether that person, Luis Maple Poto, is a nominee. She was confirmation hearing, but we have to talk about it because they line directly with, even though JFK is autonomous, the health ministry is the one that leads the board. And it will be interesting for you to know that JFK, you have 2 people in the priority. You have an administrator and you have the chief executive officer. So we need to know who those 2 people are, because we don't want the CMO from JFK. So we will be talking about it, whether on my personal page or not. I have interest in that place because we want to make sure that people represent the hospital.
So, and perhaps the next conversation, maybe tomorrow or on your page, then we can also talk about this. Is she qualified to run this care system? So
after what we're coming, because most of the things they're saying to most of the doctors there in Liberia right now, they have their own private practice. They have their own clinics.
They ask questions
look at all of those things. I think they did. I think she did pretty well. They were I thought they were brutal with her a little bit today compared to Sarah when they were more relaxed. But I thought they were brutal with Louise, and I don't think we need to skip that part because health is important in Liberia.
Good. Yeah. We'll go back to that. Let's go to Mami for his closing. Fatima, no, let's go to Mami, Fomo, Do, and then Fatima will take us home.
Yeah, I will close, and unfortunately, sorry, I will have to leave when I close. I always like to listen to other people, but I need to do something quick, so my apologies for that.
Is CSCC keeping you busy?
No, that's my work. But Vice President Bouaka will not be able to satisfy all the politicians and all the counties. That's established. He should do his best to do that. I know, respecting them and talking to them, beginning to understand the challenges. He should do his best to do that. But what he can, the silver lining is here. If the president can appoint qualified, competent, experienced people to move the needle, expand the economy, create private sector jobs in those counties that people call and say, my county not get job yet. If people start to work in those counties, making money, able to pay their bills and having lights in their homes, they wouldn't be concerned about whether the minister came from their county or not. They wouldn't be concerned if their hospitals are functioning well, their schools are functioning well, because of experienced, competent, qualified, not corrupt people in government making policies and implementing policies to create jobs and opportunities for them. They wouldn't be concerned whether the minister is from my county or not. They wouldn't be concerned how the government's decision is impacting their lives and giving them hope for the future. So I think that's where the attention should be while he's trying to settle the political issues. But when you now center in the political issues, and then the people you are pointing to now even qualify and competent and see start saying language, then the whole thing collapse. I wanted to say that, or why I make my closing. I will close like how I started. The minister designate presented a strong case, spoke about her story, sorrowful story about a woman who struggled to success. That's fine. It's okay. Our point is, any parent who send your child to school to do bachelor's degree, and after 6 months, that child comes and gives you a degree certificate when you know the program is supposed to last for 3 years, and you're not concerned about establishing how the child got that degree. You're only concerned that your child is speaking good English, but you're not concerned that the degree the child is bringing to you supposed to have been obtained in 4 months, in 4 years, but obtained in 6 months. You're not concerned. That parent is an irresponsible parent. That parent is an irresponsible parent.
So you're saying Liberia, as a parent, is irresponsible?
No, I'm giving a scenario.
I'm taking your scenario. I'm sorry.
I'm giving a scenario. So because of time, let me conclude.
Yeah, conclude.
Any parent who send their child to school to obtain a bachelor's degree that's supposed to spend 4 years, and after 6 months, the child brings the degree and deliver a good speech, and you tell your child, care less because you're speaking well. You don't want to investigate whether it was obtained fraudulently. That parent is an irresponsible parent. In the United Nations, Kate Gilmore, the UN Deputy High Commissioner on Human Rights, had to be let go because of academic fraud. She faked her credential. It was established later after growing into the ranks. But the UN did not say she had worth of experience, so she will remain here. She left. Jonathan Blankson, also in the United Nations, Chief Human Resource in the IT section, it was discovered that he had questionable credentials. They investigated for 11 months to establish all the facts and circumstances around that. And after it was confirmed, they allowed him go. They did not say, oh, he has stayed long here, he had worth of experience, so let him just stay because he faked his credential. They established the facts and they did so. But that is a standard they set for themselves. If other people feel there's no issue, that's fine. We as CAC, we that preaching the new Liberia, believe that these things must be investigated, they must be established. And if the Senate refused to do that today by all measure, they did not do justice to the foreign minister that we have. They should create an opportunity for her to prove these allegations wrong. 6 months, bachelor's degree, how did you get it? Provide the evidence. Enroll into a master's degree program with a bachelor's degree, how? Explain and provide the evidence. Anybody without a bachelor's degree who wants to upgrade yourself, the first thing that runs to their mind is to get a bachelor's degree and not a master's degree. So the fact that you go straight to a master's degree, most importantly to a school known for selling degree, and later on to a bachelor's degree, to a school known for selling degree, it raises questions. But if the elders of the land feel that these questions are baseless, they do not even need to be questioned during a confirmation hearing. It's up to them. For us, we feel they're not baseless, they must be investigated, and the evidence should show whether there was fraudulent activities or not, so as to clear the foreign minister. To not do so puts a doubt over her as she serves her country in such a major capacity.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Let me go to former Minister Do, and if Fatima, you will take us home, okay?
Okay, so today the Coalition for Democratic Change announced a retreat for its party that some of us think is in the right direction, and that is announced under the theme turning setbacks into comeback, a time of reflection when the party that have just led Liberia over 6 years and that have had numerous of successes turning Liberia from what it was before to a step forward. We'll be diving deep into what's happened over the time. How can we come back? What are those things we need to do? And so I want to say congratulations to His Excellency, Dr. Weah, as well as the chairman of the party, with such a vision. On that committee, I was fortunately appointed as a spokesperson. We are committed to doing what we can do for the party and ensuring we form an opposition bloc based on real things. And so we are ready to do that. And what else I wanted to close on? I think so far we have had good conversation. I would just like to reiterate again our respect for each other. And when we come on these platforms, we have a lot of people listening. For some of us who've always decided since birth to be respectful, we had to get angry. I have been called names here, Blamado, Hawkins. I laugh of it. I don't say anything, that's fine. But we're always called on our friends to ensure we are giving that due courtesy. We have the intellectual ability to fight back. And at a way where we never be, people wouldn't believe that we do. But we always tend to draw off because that's not the right thing to do. Me, I would never, no one in Liberia knows me as a rude person. If I disagree with you, I would disagree with you to the letter, but I would not call you names. I would not disrespect you, even in my own party. If some people calling His Excellency the President, oh, that Baka man, I say, hey, the man is the President. He is the President. We refer to him just like that. It shows respect. And I would really want to ask for all of us to do that because we don't want to resort to that mode and thing. I don't think it's the right thing to do.
Thank you. So Spoon's gonna send a bill for announcing your retreat, and also
no problem.
Also, is the president going to be at the former president? Is he going to be at a retreat?
He's very much expected to be there. It was by his directive that was announced today.
Oh, check the former president work you. Mr. Jackson, are you going to be at a retreat?
No, I'm not a member of the CDC.
Oh, okay.
But we are looking to bring over Mr. Jackson.
See that one? I was thinking
that one will not even happen. It's not even happening.
Fatima,
please, Gandhi, you will get an invite from us. We want all of our people back.
I will come.
Oh yeah, we want everybody.
In Pasa, right? That's what I heard. Yeah,
even Dr. Richardson got a little blood of us because she's from the ANC. You know, the ANC and the CDC, they got brothers and sisters. We're going to invite her as well. We want to have everybody over.
Nobody using my mouth to choose the pepper anymore. Let me just say you so. Everything I say would be coming from inside me after a lot of observation. Go ahead, Fatima, take us home, please.
So, Dr. Richardson, there are just some points that I would like to clarify. First, the reason why I did not have any political party in Liberia, the reason why I decided to support Joseph Numa Boakai was because I saw the direction Liberia was going and I was not in agreement. And I spoke to the powers that were during those times and they just dismissed it. So when I was coming from speaking to them, I drove by Joseph Boakai's house and he told me, I spoke my mind and I was asking, I said, I want to know what's your platform. What do you want to do? At the time I was supporting the ANC. And he said to me something, this is why I'm bringing it up because Glendy spoke and that fit perfectly within it. I said, why you want to be president? Why now? And he said something to me. He said, is it fair for me to get sick, go to Ghana, contribute to her economy, or go to the United States? Well, when you give one injection, sometimes it's 50 to 100,000. Why can't I build the hospitals in Liberia for me and the common Liberians to attend and take care of us? Why? Because I'm president, do I have to be better than the Liberian people? And because of that, I was sold and I decided to campaign for him. I campaigned for Joseph Boakai with no reservation, not for anything. I think you know Dr. Richardson, I'm a therapist in the evenings and I work for Biden Care. I'm the county. The county is called Camden County. I used to live in Linden, New Jersey for almost 20 years. I'm the county head. I'm the county coordinator for Biden Care. This is my card because I heard people are talking about, oh, she wants job from President Joe, whatever. I'm a county coordinator. That being said, I do not want to disrespect anybody. The thing is, I'm an advocate for women and girls. Like I told you guys, I have a personal story. My mother was uneducated, and she put everything in me to ensure that Madingo girls, Muslim girls, can be educated, can sit at the table, and can do well. I lost my first marriage because I wanted education, and my husband cared so deeply for me. He wanted me to stay home and watch babies and make more babies. And at the time, when I thought about the dream and aspirations my poor mother had for me, I could not do that. And because of that, I got a divorce. My husband said, well, me, I won't go back Liberia. I won't go live my life. Say you won't stay here, me, I'm going. And that's how we got divorced. So I come to this platform to just be there to support women. I'm not, and I'm not Mr. Isaac Doe. He said I call him Blamato because sometimes I miss the name, but sometimes I just say it. But the thing is, I do not want to insult anybody or treat anybody unfairly. I noticed that he came back. I was repeating what Uncle Sam said. He said he does not know any crooks. Well, that's not what the United States government said about Samuel 12. Samuel 12 was, I think you guys know, sanctioned for corruption, for mismanagement, for all kinds of things. I could go down the list. So I was just trying to make a suggestion that, yes, indeed, you do know some crooks, okay? And for him to come out and say, well, you call us names, I do refer to people as clowns, because if you look at our whole country, and just support the first 1% of the people and forget about the rest of them, and forget about healthcare, the welfare of the nation, and everybody trying to be GQ and wear proper suits, then you do not care. And so as a social worker will come back and tell you that you did not care for the country and will speak. Nobody ever saw me as any advocate in Africa. I'm a Democratic Party chairperson in New Jersey. I was in Linden, New Jersey until I moved in Williamsboro. Okay, so Dr. Richardson, it's because of women like you that I came on this show, because I saw how you advocated for young girls. How every time I hear you, you talk about the criminal justice system in Liberia, how it needs reform, how it needs to protect girls and young women. And these are the dreams and aspirations of my mother. So this is why I'm here. And I'm very passionate. I might come out, I will not insult you, but I will tell you who you are and what you do. Mr. Doe, unfortunately, was indeed accused of beating his girlfriend. I have pictures, I have photos, I have everything. And so when he come at me and say I'm this, I just have to go back, because you see me when I'm attacked, I'm a lioness. I react. I mean no disrespect. I mean no harm for nobody. My thing is Liberia first and Liberia last. And to all of those being nominated, we want a better Liberia for all of us, because me, you see me, I want to retire. I'm 50 years old. I want to retire in the next 10 years, and Liberia will be my home. I want to go back to my country and have some time and some peace and live there where my navel's strings are buried, and I will be buried in Samuka time by the grace of God. So this is it, Dr. Richardson. Thank you for all the listeners and viewers around the world. I want you guys to know that I'm one of the most respectful people you would ever meet. But the thing is, I'm passionate about Liberia, and if you come and look at me and tell me that it is blue when I know it's white, I'm gonna let you know it is white. And so that is it. I have no disrespect. I mean none giving and none taking. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, Glenn. And Liberia first, Liberia last.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking it. So I have one question for you, and I'm gonna tell you, if you, I don't know if you, I beg you to wait, and Nelson Jack, give me 1 minute. Yes. So you said that you were influenced by President Bokar when you went to visit him, and he said, why can't I go to a hospital in Liberia instead of going overseas? Do you think, like people are saying, if he appoints people, instead of appointing young, productive people like you, who are not even looking for a job, you have the qualification, but I see today he appointed, people who have the experience though, like, George Wallace, it seems to have the experience, according to Glady. I don't know Sir Johnny. Is this Sir Johnny work as a CPA? So maybe he has knowledge about the economic advising. Charles Snyder, they say he's a former ELBC director, and he's actually is ambassador at large, which means that he's going to be appointed to do small little things wherever the president wants him to go, work that projects that the president wants him to do. And then Louis Tamba, do you think having people in those positions, and not necessarily these people, instead of the people who are in the trenches with him, who I understand from you guys, you're not looking for a job, but you want to contribute to the cause, to the passion. All right, you want to be a part of building Liberia, rescuing the word that you guys use, Liberia. Do you think that will help the president stay home instead of, when you appoint people like this, instead of you guys, would that help him stay home instead of going to the hospital abroad?
I really truly believe that if he appoints competent, and you know, I talked to him personally and we spoke. Before I left from Liberia, I met with him and he wanted me to stay because I said, my job, for the first time, Dr. Richardson, you know, I've been running back and forth 6 times. And this one time, my VPN was not responding. I couldn't connect my computer. You know, I work from home. So my job kept calling me, Fatima, we haven't seen you on 10 days. So I went to tell you, I said, I'm leaving. I got to leave. This job pays me, you know,
yes,
I said, Mr. President. He said, no, but you got. I said, no, I gotta go. And I told him, I said, look, the world is watching you. Liberia is watching. We want you to appoint competent people that will move the wheel of power, that will make sure our country is safe. And those injections that you were talking about, not going abroad, you can take it in Liberia. You need to improve healthcare, education. And he agreed. He said, you're given some time. In the first 100 days, you will see things switching. And we'll hold his feet to the fire. I'm not loyal to a person. This is what I want you to understand. I respect Joseph Boakai, and everything he's told me so far is coming to play. The thing is, I'm not loyal to a person, Dr. Richardson. I'm loyal to Liberia. And this is what I want everybody to know. I'm not looking for a job. I make 6 figures here. Please, I drive a Mercedes-Benz for sure. And I drive a Range Rover on the weekends. So please, don't let anybody tell you that, oh, I'm looking for a job. If my only thing was to make sure that the people in Liberia were empowered, so our people not calling us 24/7 to say, hey, my people, do this, do that, do this. But the fact is that we want him, Dr. Richardson, the answer to your question is that we want him to put competent people so that the wheel of power is turned, our country is uplifted, and people like Glennie and I can sometimes go and do consultation and help our people in Liberia. Liberia, we used to have people go there just to, they used to go there just to, you know, donate their time and do things in the country. Those are the things we want our country to move forward. It's not about, you know, getting from Liberia. It's us giving back.
So maybe Glennie can answer this question too. Maybe it doesn't a big. It's just things that I stay up like 12 o'clock at night. I think about. So
I'm just staring you.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you got. So you know, there's something that's sort of been just simmering in my stomach a little bit. It is about how could President Boakai miss you guys who are in the trenches with him? It feels like we all talk about the younger generation. You guys represent Liberia because Liberia have a very youthful population, number one. Number two, okay, the people, you guys were in the trenches fighting day and night to bring him to power. So to me now, my opinion that you guys are going to be at least the first call. All these people knew who they call him. They maybe qualify. They maybe, you know, they name your job, whatever. But they would have been the last call for me. The Charles Natter, the Ambassador Wallace, the Louis Tamba, the John Sarjoni, or whoever, last call. People like the people who were fighting the good fight. The people who were in Pupu water, as Reverend Tapper said. Reverend Tapper himself, you know. So the people who are fighting, what's going on? Am I wrong to think that way, or you know?
I don't think you're wrong. I think for me it's about Liberia. For me, it's my participation is about Liberia, deeply rooted. There are some personal stories as to why I fight for Liberia and advocate for Liberia the way I do. But you know, I too feel that there are some people, like some of the people we work with here and other places, that we would have seen their name by now. And still we haven't seen it. I think it's right for people to wonder why certain people have not been appointed.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that we haven't seen Stevie Johnson or Patrick Hunter's name or Eugene Falcon? Why have we not seen those names? Who's stopping? Like even Luther Tupper of all things, if there's a position he wanted to hold, why haven't we seen his name?
No, I think let me just answer to that point. That usually the party chairmen are not awarded position, and Dr. Tupper did not want any position. The party will usually say, okay, like Ellen Johnson never awarded no position to the party chairman. They will pay you every month. But what he wanted, when I entered Monrovia, I saw him with a list. He had a list of all the people that y'all been talking about. Everybody's name was on that list because he felt that those were the competent players. Okay, he had like a list of 100 people and nobody has been called. So he's frustrated. I think that's where he comes in, because he felt that those young progressives should have been given the opportunity. So I just wanted to add that to you. I don't think he wanted a job.
Yeah, which is true. I think it's something that they need to look in it. If they have a team, I think they have to look at those people. Some people will say, "Oh, I was not in it for the job," but if you see that they are competent and there's an open position, offer it to them, because it's like even though they're not asking for it, but if you have an opportunity and you've been serving Liberia and you have an opportunity to go back home, give them the choice and let them be the one to say no, because there's competent people inside and outside of Liberia. So I don't think it's a bad question, Doc. I just think, time. Let's see what time does.
Dr. Richardson question will be to the boom. She to the spine. She make you rethink that thing.
Let me leave it because this is what I'm chewing on at night. And so does it say, like people like us who like to go in the mind of people, what does it say about the mind of Joseph Boakai, who would put 35% or 24% of people from Lofa County, then next his family, people who supposedly his family members, and then also this list that we see now, people who are the Johnny side, the Charles Netter, the Wallace, and the Tupper. I want. That's what I think about. What's happening in his mind when he makes these appointments? Is it he just feel like, oh, the young people will just wait, they got a lot of energy, a lot of time when they're here.
Well, when I spoke to him, he said, Fatima, there's 1,000 more positions. Yeah, let them wait. Tell them they will be appointed. But in due time, one of our people that was on this network is gonna get appointed. And I'm excited about that. He's gonna get yeah, I'm excited. So I mean, like I'm just telling them to be encouraged and wait. A lot of them are there, they were not working here, so I understand. And I think it should be their decision, though. If they want to go back to serve, it should be their decision. The opportunity should be given to them, Dr. Richardson. So I mean, like some of these things were on my mind. It's like you were in my mouth and you just pull it out for me to express it to you. It's true. People should be given the opportunity. I've never ever fought for anything in Liberia. I've never voted for anything in Liberia. This was my first time ever voting. I was 18 years old when I graduated high school in Liberia. I came here when I was 19. Right after I got married, I came to the States. So I never voted. And it was wartime. So this is my first active participation. And it felt good to bet on an old man, bet on him, and he won. So it feels good, and he got to make it right. Because if he doesn't, like I told you, Dr. Richardson, I am not loyal to a person. I'm not. I'm loyal to Liberia. Liberia is my number one. So I know and I believe in Joseph Boakai. He looked into my eyes and he told me, we get this right, Liberia will be rescued. Everybody will be happy. All Liberians will be good. And I will hold him to that. So that's all I have to say.
Lenny?
I have nothing to add. We're waiting.
Okay.
30 days to see.
But nobody will tell me what you think going on in the mind of somebody who, it's like I'm friend with you, Fatima and Lenny. You guys, y'all come shop with me, y'all eat my food.
I gotta tell Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, you know what? Our ink, I cry when your girl call me and say, I'm bringing the daughter clothes. I say that I'm leaving. But I actually I brought you 2 dresses too.
Thank you. Thank you. So then imagine that. Then I become, like I move up. Y'all who the people who y'all be.
I will feel bad. I'm sure the other people feel bad. It's a natural feeling because they some people wanted that. That's what they were in there for, and some people want to know what would be their position campaign
My
is
girl
over.
Gina, when I beg you, my girl Gina says she won't hear me speak small vow that of Richard say.
Oh yeah, you speak part of close the show. Okay.
Mama no, wo Micah, wo Fabia, Manya me. I say I can be that of Richard say I can be sticking it to my speaking vaso.
Yeah, I can see any kind of business.
Now man wo Fakima, wo Fabia. One man ya call me kamasa ekwe no nya. Wo Fabia. What mo kelo man ya jalo. Wo Fabia kemu I see e mo be na no kenu ani mo abo elo basa. Wo kone he wo Fabia. Wo fasa ICG lo. Kemu aikima londo no tata wo kone mo egbibe ni e clear ni o data Richesi o nyomo Nelson mo bunu mo afona wo ye wo Fakima. Manya me ekwe no ma be na wo kone he ama be na muyabia we muyafuaye muyafuaye ti egbi yake mu for muyewu ibe yawa mana komu kone he wo baika China, you must be happy.
All right, guys, on that note, we'll close the show tomorrow. We'll see you guys. So thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, Tag. Thank you.
Bye
now.
Thank you.
Bye, Nelson.
Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot. Well, folks, we want to say thank you for being here again tonight. Thanks for following Spoon Talk. Thanks for making your contributions in the comment section. Thanks to all of you who called in, expressing yourselves, saying exactly what's on your mind. We appreciate you for that. Thanks to those of you in Radio Land following us. Spoon FM 107.5, Fabric 101.1, Super 95.5 FM. We appreciate you for joining us from there. Thanks to all of you as well online, Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV on Facebook. On YouTube, Spoon Talk Live. We appreciate all of you. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the program Spoon Talk. Thanks to all the radio stations across Liberia that have been relaying this program. Thanks to Punch FM 106.7. Thanks to Gibi FM in Kakata, Magibi County, for relaying the show as well. Thanks to Trust FM 88.7 in Bomi County. Thanks to Trent Radio 104.7 in Grand Crew County. And thanks to all the other radio stations. We appreciate you. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Spoon Talk. Until we come your way again, have a good night. But you can make up time to join us tonight. Of course, the late night show will be coming up shortly in about 30 minutes from now. You can join us tonight. Until then, have a good night. Liberia is all we have. So let's remember to keep the peace.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
Told the spoon to get your information. Told the spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Morocco, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. To spoon. To spoon. You from Fonjema, Maryland, to spoon. To spoon. If you eat keep on gradually, my brother, to spoon. kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon
Baraba, skibidi dabado.